There is a quiet strangeness in the way our universe behaves. Even when the night sky looks perfectly still, the galaxies scattered across it are slowly drifting apart, carried by a mysterious expansion that never seems to stop. Space itself stretches, like a slow exhale of something ancient and unseen. And the deeper we look into the darkness, the more we realize that nothing in the universe is truly resting. Not even the emptiness. Welcome to AstraFlow. Here, science drifts like starlight, and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts slow down, your breathing find its rhythm, and your mind float through wonder. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Are you lying in bed under city lights, or watching the stars from somewhere quiet? Tell me in the comments. It's always peaceful to imagine the AstraFlow community scattered across the world, drifting together through the same sky. And if this calm journey brings you peace, you can gently support AstraFlow by liking this video or subscribing. It helps this little corner of the cosmos keep glowing. Now, let's begin tonight's voyage into the quiet story of the strange mystery of the expanding universe. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine the universe not as something fixed, but as something breathing. Every second, everywhere, space grows a little larger. Galaxies surrounded by oceans of dark velvet slowly drift apart. Not because they are pushing away from each other, but because the fabric underneath them is stretching. The universe expands the way dawn expands across a sleeping landscape, softly, evenly, without hurry. For a moment, picture yourself floating at the edge of a vast cosmic plain. The stars around you shimmer like distant campfires in the cold. At first, everything appears motionless, almost frozen. Yet with quiet attention, you notice a subtle drift, a gentle unthreading of distances. Galaxies glide away from one another like lanterns released on a dark river. Not fast, not chaotic, but with the slow inevitability of a tide that has been flowing since the beginning of time. As your breath softens, let your mind drift with them. Let each inhale bring you closer to stillness, and each exhale stretch out into the expanding dark, mirroring the universe's own long, patient rhythm. Long ago, astronomers believed the universe was static, fixed, unmoving, eternal in its structure. But the universe surprised us. It revealed that stillness was only an illusion created by distance and time. In truth, everything is widening. Every second, the fabric of space grows, adding room where none existed before. The galaxies are not racing through emptiness. The emptiness itself is unfolding beneath them. This idea feels strange because nothing in our daily lives behaves like this. If two objects move apart, we assume they're travelling away from each other. But in the universe, expansion is different. Even if galaxies remain completely still, the space between them can grow. Distances increase without motion. Silence stretches without sound. Tonight, we'll drift through the heart of this curiosity, exploring how expansion works, why it exists, how we discovered it, and what it means for the future of the cosmos. Not with urgency, not with complexity, but gently, like following ripples across a quiet lake in the dark. For now, just breathe. Let the expanding universe cradle your imagination, and let this calm beginning carry you forward. When we first hear that the universe is expanding, it's natural to imagine galaxies rushing outward, like sparks from a fire or fragments from an explosion. But the real mystery runs much deeper. It isn't the galaxies themselves that are moving away. It's the space between them that grows. Space stretches, widens, unfurls. And so the quiet question drifts toward us like a soft tide. Why does space grow at all? What makes the universe widen even in perfect silence? As you breathe gently in this moment, let that question settle beside you. Not as a puzzle to solve quickly, but as an invitation to explore slowly. What does it mean for something as intangible as space, the invisible backdrop of everything, to expand? If you close your eyes, you can almost feel the concept itself stretching, like a thin sheet being pulled from every direction. No tearing, no sound, just expansion, woven into the nature of reality. From our small human view, nothing behaves this way. Rooms don't grow, distances don't widen without movement. Two sleeping people on a bed don't drift apart unless someone rolls away. But the universe isn't a room, or a bed, or a landscape. It's a fabric with its own laws, its own rhythm, its own quiet story. And in that story, space grows because growth is part of its fundamental nature. To understand this, imagine you're floating in a vast, dark ocean. The water is calm, you feel no current, no wave, and yet, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the distance between you and distant lights begins to widen. You're not moving. They're not moving. The ocean itself is stretching. That is what the universe does. A slow widening of the ocean of space-time. Scientists don't fully know why the universe expands. They can measure how fast it expands. They can observe that it has been expanding since the moment of the Big Bang. They can model the growth and predict the future. But the reason, the deep philosophical reason, slips through our fingers like mist. Some say expansion is simply momentum, a continuation of the universe's initial beginning. Others suggest space itself has an energy that pushes outward. Others still point toward dark energy, the strange force that accelerates the expansion even now. But tonight, as you rest, we don't need to choose one answer. Instead, we can sit with the beauty of the question itself. Why does space grow? Why does distance stretch? Why does the universe breathe outward instead of remaining still? Perhaps the universe expands for the same reason we grow and change, because motion is built into the nature of existence. Perhaps expansion is not a phenomenon, but a form of cosmic unfolding, not a question of mechanics, but of being. A quiet truth whispered into the fabric of reality. Let your breath follow that whisper now, slow, steady, widening gently in your chest. Let the question open something soft within you, not urgency, not confusion, just wonder. The universe expands, and tonight so does the space within your thoughts. When we look up at the night sky, everything seems perfectly calm. The stars hold their positions, the constellations feel ancient, familiar, unmoving. The moon glides with patient grace. Even the Milky Way, our grand river of light, appears frozen in its celestial arc. Yet this stillness is an illusion born of immense distance. Beneath that quiet picture, the universe is in motion everywhere, in every direction, all at once. Even in its silence, the cosmos is widening. To understand this, imagine standing at the edge of a vast lake just before dawn. The surface looks motionless like polished glass. But if you wait, if you breathe, if you soften your attention, you begin to notice the smallest signs of change. The faint ripple from a distant fish, the gentle shift in wind, the almost invisible spreading of light as the sky brightens. The calm holds motion inside it. The universe is the same, still on the surface, but carrying an endless drift beneath. When astronomers study distant galaxies, they notice something subtle, but astonishing. The farther a galaxy was from us, the faster it appeared to be receding. But this wasn't because those galaxies were moving through space with high speed. Instead, they were being carried by the expansion of space itself, like two leaves floating on a river that widens, even if neither leaf moves on its own. In this sense, the universe is not a stage where objects dance. The universe is the dance. Space is not the empty void between things. It is an active fabric, a field with structure, with tension, with the ability to bend and stretch. And when this fabric stretches, everything within it drifts gently outward. not by choice, not by force, but simply because expansion is woven into the nature of the cosmos. As you breathe now, imagine that fabric beneath all things extending with each inhale. The gaps between distant galaxies widen like threads being pulled apart. Yet here, inside our little corner of the Milky Way, gravity acts like a quiet anchor, holding our stars together, keeping us close as the rest of the universe moves outward. Our galaxy remains whole, even as the cosmic ocean around it grows. This dual nature, stillness and motion, gives the universe a quiet, almost hypnotic rhythm. It expands evenly everywhere, not from a centre, not from an explosion point, but like a rising mist filling every space it touches. Every second, the universe grows a little larger, not noticeably, not dramatically, but steadily, faithfully, like a soft breath in the dark. And what does this mean for us lying here tonight? It means that even when you feel still, life continues to unfold beneath you. Even when your thoughts grow quiet, something within you is expanding, understanding, awareness, calm. The universe itself teaches this. Growth can be silent, change can be gentle, motion can be soft enough to sleep inside. So as we continue this journey, let yourself drift with the cosmos. Let your mind loosen its grip on the rigid world of everyday motion. In this realm, distances are not fixed, and nothing stays truly still. Everything flows, stretches, unfolds, a slow motion miracle happening everywhere at once. The universe is expanding, and in its expansion it carries you through a story older than memory, quieter than breath. If you could float far above the Milky Way, high enough to see our galaxy as a glowing spiral drifting in the dark, you might imagine it gliding through space like a ship on a still sea. And in a way it is moving, but not in the way we usually picture. The galaxies of the universe are not sailing away from each other through emptiness. Instead, they are resting gently on a fabric that stretches beneath them, and as that fabric expands, the galaxies drift apart without taking a single step of their own. This is the strange, silent drift at the heart of the expanding universe. Imagine painting dots on the surface of a balloon. When the balloon inflates, the dots grow farther apart. The dots do not move across the surface itself stretches. In the universe, galaxies are the dots. Space is the balloon. An expansion is the quiet increase in the distance between everything. But the real universe is far softer, far more subtle than a balloon. There is no rubbery tension, no central point of inflation, no surface being pushed outward. Expansion happens everywhere, all at once. Every region of space stretches gently, like a slow unfolding of an invisible fabric. Even in the deep spaces between galaxies, cold, silent, empty, the stretching continues. You might imagine galaxies drifting away with a consistent speed, but the pace of this drift depends entirely on distance. Nearby galaxies, held tightly by gravity, stay close. Farther galaxies drift more noticeably, and extremely distant galaxies seem to glide away at speeds that defy intuition, some faster than the speed of light. But they are not breaking any rules of physics. They are not racing through space. The space between us and them is what grows. As you breathe, imagine each inhale widening the darkness between galaxies. Imagine each exhale settling your awareness into the calm truth that nothing here is rushed. Expansion is steady, patient. It has been happening for billions of years and will continue for billions more. Our Milky Way sits within a small group of galaxies, gently bound together like lanterns in a cluster. And while the universe around us expands, our local group remains held by gravity's quiet embrace. The Andromeda Galaxy drifts toward us, not away, pulled inward by shared mass even as the larger cosmos grows. In this way, expansion is not a force that pushes everything apart. It is a property of space itself, a behavior of the cosmic fabric, not a wind or shove. This idea can be comforting if you let it settle inside you. The universe expands, yet stillness exists. Galaxies drift, yet communities of stars stay together. Motion and anchoring coexist. Distance grows, but structure persists. And perhaps this mirrors something in your own life, the way you can drift outward in experience while still being held by moments of connection. The way growth can coexist with grounding. The way change does not erase closeness. Tonight, as galaxies drift on their silent currents, let yourself drift a little too, gently, peacefully, without effort, not moving through space, but floating on it, carried by the same slow breath that widens the universe. If the expanding universe has a voice, it speaks in light, not in words, not in sound, but in the quiet stretching of the wavelengths that travel across cosmic distances. As galaxies drift away on the widening fabric of space, the light they send us is gently pulled, lengthened, softened. What begins as bright, energetic light gradually becomes deeper, redder, quieter, like a whisper fading into the night. This soft stretching of light is called redshift, and it is one of the universe's most delicate signatures. Imagine watching a distant lantern drifting across a dark lake. As it moves farther away, its glow becomes more subdued, its colour slightly warmer, not because the lantern weakens, but because distance itself dims and transforms it. Something similar happens with the light of galaxies. The journey across expanding space stretches the light, lowering its energy, turning blues into reds and reds into whispers of infrared. When astronomers first noticed this effect, it seemed almost poetic. The farther a galaxy was, the redder its light appeared. It was as if the universe itself was breathing outward, altering the very glow of its stars. That pattern became one of the strongest clues that the cosmos is expanding, not through motion, but through the stretching of space itself. Picture a wave moving through water. If the water stretches as the wave travels, the wave lengthens. The peaks drift farther apart. This is what happens to light when it crosses an expanding cosmos. The wave doesn't change on its own. The medium beneath it simply unfurls, and with each unfurling, the light becomes softer, deeper, more stretched. As you breathe now, imagine that each exhale pulls wavelengths gently outward. Imagine starlight lengthening into calm red hues. There is something soothing about knowing that even light, the swiftest traveller in the universe, relaxes over distance. Even photons racing across billions of years eventually slow in their energy, surrendering to the softness of cosmic expansion. This stretching tells us more than distance. It tells us time. Light from faraway galaxies has travelled for billions of years to reach us. The redder it appears, the older the message it carries. In a sense, redshift is cosmic memory. Ancient light revealing the universe's growth across ages. When a faint red-shifted glow reaches our telescopes, it is a message sent long before Earth existed, long before the sun ignited, long before atoms in your body had ever been forged. Think about that. The light that touches your eyes tonight may have begun its journey when the universe was young and warm, when galaxies were forming like first thoughts, when the cosmic story had barely begun. And in that journey, every stretch, every shift toward red, every softening of colour is a record of expansion, a diary written in light. As you rest, let this idea settle softly in your mind. The universe whispers its history through the glow of distant stars. Redshift is not a warning, not a sign of loss. It is a gentle reminder that everything changes with time, even the colour of light. It is the cosmos saying, "I have grown since this light was born." And as the universe grows, so do you. Quietly, gradually, beautifully. Long before we understood the universe as a place that stretches and widens, astronomers believed in a cosmos that was steady and unchanging, The stars seemed eternal. The galaxies, eternal. Space itself, eternal. It was a comforting picture, a universe that simply was, without growth or drift. But one quiet discovery, made by a patient observer with a careful eye, changed everything. His name was Edwin Hubble, and his revelation was gentle but world-shifting. In the 1920s, Hubble studied faint galaxies through the largest telescope of his time, perched atop Mount Wilson in California. The nights were cold, the work meticulous, and the silence of the observatory must have felt like resting within the universe's own breath. Night after night he measured the light of distant galaxies. He wasn't looking for expansion. No one was. He was simply trying to understand how far away these mysterious spiral nebulae truly were. But hidden within the starlight was a secret. The farther away a galaxy was, the more its light shifted toward the red, and the more it shifted, the faster that galaxy appeared to be receding from us. It was as though the universe had written a message not in ink but in colour, a message waiting patiently in the spectrum of starlight for someone quiet enough to notice. With time, Hubble realised this wasn't a coincidence, it wasn't a quirk of light, it was a pattern, a gentle universal drift. Every distant galaxy was moving away, and the farther it was, the faster it receded. This relationship became known as Hubble's law, a simple equation with profound meaning. Distance increases, recession speed increases, the universe is expanding. The revelation was astonishing, not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it changed the very shape of our understanding. The universe wasn't static at all. It was dynamic, growing, unfolding. Not a frozen stage, but a living, widening fabric. As you lie here tonight, imagine Hubble on a quiet mountain night, listening to the soft hum of the telescope as it gathers ancient light. Imagine him leaning over the eyepiece, unaware that he is witnessing one of humanity's greatest turning points. In that moment, the universe was no longer a silent portrait on the wall of existence. It was a story, with movement, rhythm, breath. And so the quiet truth emerged. We are living inside a cosmic expansion. Every second, every hour, every lifetime, the universe grows a little more spacious. But Hubble's discovery was not just scientific. It was poetic. It told us that the night sky is not simply a dome above us. It is a flowing, evolving ocean. That every star we see resides in a galaxy that is drifting, carried gently on the widening tide of space. Let that image settle into you. The sky above your resting body is not still. It is opening, slowly, softly, endlessly. The expanding universe isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It simply widens in the background of everything, a patient breath that has lasted almost 14 billion years. And tonight, as you drift towards sleep, you're part of that same breath. When we hear that the universe is expanding, it's easy to picture a dramatic beginning, a colossal blast sending matter flying outward in every direction, like fragments from an explosion. The very phrase, Big Bang, encourages this image. A single point erupting, scattering galaxies across empty space. But the truth is quieter, stranger, and far more beautiful than any explosion. The universe did not explode into space. The universe expanded as space. Nothing burst outward. Instead, everything, matter, energy, even the dimensions themselves, unfolded together. To understand this, imagine sitting inside a rising fog at dawn. There is no centre, no outward rush, no point of origin you can walk back to. The fog thickens everywhere at once. Each patch of mist grows denser, not because something blew it outward, but because the whole atmosphere is transforming around you. That is closer to what the early universe was like, a swelling, a blooming of reality itself. If the universe were an explosion, we would expect to find a central point where matter originated, a direction where debris moves, a moment of violent release. But wherever you stand in the universe, everything seems to move away from you. This isn't because you're at the center, it's because every point is expanding simultaneously. There is no preferred location, no special origin inside the cosmos, no cosmic middle. Expansion happens everywhere. Take a breath and imagine a dark fabric beneath you, soft and infinite. With each inhale, the fabric stretches. Points on the fabric drift apart. Not because the points move, but because the fabric widens. That's the essence of cosmic expansion. Stars and galaxies float like luminous beads sewn into this fabric, carried outward as space stretches gently underneath them. Explosions leave behind shock waves, violent patterns of heat and force. Expansion leaves behind uniformity, a strangely even, almost peaceful distribution of energy, like a warm light fading evenly throughout a room. This smoothness in the early universe is one of the biggest clues that no chaotic blast occurred. Instead, the cosmos expanded like a calm, rapid exhale from nothingness into somethingness, a beginning not of destruction, but of unfolding. Another key difference lies in temperature. After an explosion, the environment remains hot and turbulent. But in the expanding universe, temperature drops gracefully as space widens. The cosmic microwave background, the faint ancient glow still drifting through space, is not the roar of an explosion. It's the warm afterbreath of a universe that cooled slowly, softly, as it grew. As you rest here tonight, consider this. The universe didn't begin with chaos. It began with expansion, a gentle but powerful stretching that set everything in motion. Galaxies are not shrapnel. They are lanterns carried outward by the widening fabric of existence. This means something profound. The cosmos is not defined by violence, but by flow, by growth, by the quiet tendency of reality to unfold, to stretch, to create new room for stars and ideas and life. Let that thought soothe you. You're resting in a universe that expands not with force, but with patience, not with noise, but with depth, not with destruction, but with possibility. Everything around you, every breath, every thought, every star is part of that unfolding. One of the simplest ways to imagine the expanding universe is the classic balloon analogy. Dots drawn on the surface drift apart as the balloon inflates. It's a gentle visual, and it captures the idea that space itself stretches. But tonight, let's soften this image, slow it down, and reimagine it in a way that suits the calm flow of the cosmos and the calm flow of your breath. Instead of a bright rubber balloon, picture a dim, softly glowing sphere like a lantern made of mist. The surface is smooth, velvety, and warm to the touch. Small points of light sit upon it, suspended like tiny stars painted onto a thin world. You hover above this sphere, watching it in silence. And as you breathe in, the sphere expands, not suddenly, not forcefully, but with the gentleness of cloth being pulled taut by invisible hands. The points of light drift apart, not because they travel, not because they flee from one another, but because the surface beneath them stretches, making more room. This is the essence of cosmic expansion. The galaxies are the lights. Space is the glowing fabric beneath them, and the growth of that fabric is what carries everything outward. But unlike a balloon, the universe has no outside, no rubbery skin, no surrounding air. There is no center where the inflation begins, no boundary where it ends. Expansion is not from a point. It is everywhere, occurring between every pair of galaxies, in every patch of space, in every direction you could look. In our softer analogy, imagine that the glowing sphere is not being inflated from the outside. Instead, every point on its surface glows a little brighter and expands from within. The whole sphere grows uniformly as though the space inside it, the very essence of it, is gently rising like dough. There is no edge to find, no privileged place where the growth is greater. Everything expands because expansion is a property of the sphere itself. Now bring that image closer to yourself. Imagine space around you, the invisible, silent presence between atoms, between stars, between galaxies, stretching in the same quiet way. You won't feel it, you won't see it, but it is happening everywhere around you and within you. Cosmic expansion is as uniform as breath, as constant as a heartbeat, as patient as the slow turning of the earth under your resting body. This reimagined balloon metaphor helps reveal a deeper truth. Nothing pushes galaxies apart. The universe doesn't shove, it doesn't scatter, it simply grows. And the galaxies follow that growth naturally. They are passengers, not projectiles. And in this soft understanding, there is something deeply comforting. You live in a universe that expands not through violence, but through room-making. It creates space, literally, for stars to shine, for galaxies to dance, for life to exist. And in its gentle widening, there is a reflection of the way your own mind expands when it relaxes, when it begins to dream, when it allows itself to drift on calm ideas. So as you breathe now, feel the stillness around you. Imagine space itself expanding with a rhythm as steady as your breath. And let that image ease you deeper into quiet. The universe grows, and you grow with it, softly, effortlessly. If you imagine the universe as a great structure, it is tempting to picture something rigid, a vast, empty stage on which galaxies and stars live their separate lives. But space is nothing like a stage. It is not stiff, not unmoving, not silent in its nature. Space is more like a fabric, soft and flexible, able to stretch, bend, ripple, and curve. And as you rest tonight, letting your breath slow and lengthen, you can imagine yourself floating on that very fabric, supported by a cosmic weave older than time. Close your eyes and think of a sheet of dark velvet stretched out before you. When you press gently on it, the cloth bends, curving inward. When you pull on its edges, it stretches, widening in every direction. Space behaves in a similar way, not because it is literally a cloth, but because its geometry changes in response to mass, energy, and expansion. The galaxies resting on this fabric are like tiny weights, creating subtle dimples in the weave. Stars cluster where the fabric bends most deeply. Planets orbit in the valleys carved by gravity. But here is the most beautiful part. The fabric does not resist. It yields. It stretches without tearing, curves without breaking, flows without complaint. When the universe expands, it is this very fabric that widens. No seams, no edges, no boundaries. Just the quiet, uniform stretching of something that exists everywhere. Even in the emptiest region of space, where no stars shine and no galaxies drift, the fabric is still there, expanding gently, giving room for the distances to grow. This fabric is not just a poetic image. In physics, it is the structure of space-time, the joined concept of space and time as one continuous entity. Gravity doesn't pull objects the way a magnet pulls metal. Instead, gravity is simply the curve of this fabric, and movement is simply the glide of matter along those curves. Imagine placing two marbles on a trampoline. If the surface dips under one marble, the other marble rolls toward it, not because it is tugged, but because the surface itself is curved. This is how planets orbit stars. This is how stars orbit the center of their galaxies. They are following the contours of the fabric, tracing graceful paths carved by mass. And over billions of years, as the universe expands, the fabric stretches evenly. The curves stay intact where gravity is strong, but the spaces between great clusters of galaxies widen. It is a delicate balance, gravity pulling inward, expansion stretching outward. Neither force is violent. Neither force is rushed. Together they create the serene architecture of the cosmos. As you breathe, imagine the fabric beneath everything expanding with each inhale and settling softly with each exhale. You might feel a sense of floating, not upward or downward, but outward into a quiet vastness that holds you gently. This fabric connects everything. Your body, held by Earth's gravity, rests in one of its curves. The Milky Way lies in another. Clusters of galaxies sit in deeper valleys, and beyond them, the expanding fabric extends endlessly, making room for future stars, future light, future stories. Let this image cradle you. You exist on a cosmic tapestry that flows with time, bends with gravity, and stretches with the universe's quiet breath. Tonight, rest on that fabric. It has been holding you since the dawn of creation. There is a quiet edge to what we can see, not a wall, not a boundary, but a gentle horizon shaped by distance, time, and the steady growth of the universe. Just as the Earth's horizon hides lands beyond your view, the cosmic horizon hides regions of the universe whose light has not yet had time to reach us. And as the universe expands, that horizon shifts, stretches, and evolves like a slowly widening circle drawn on an endless canvas. Imagine standing on a calm shoreline at night. The sea is vast, dark, and silent. In the distance, the water merges with the sky in a hazy blur. You know the ocean continues far beyond the horizon, even though your eyes cannot follow it. That hidden expanse still exists, quietly, faithfully, just out of reach. The universe is much the same. The cosmic horizon marks the limit of what light has been able to cross since the beginning of time. What lies beyond it continues, unseen, in the same endless darkness. This horizon exists because light, though swift, is not instantaneous. It travels through expanding space, and space itself stretches underfoot. Some regions of the universe drift away faster than their ancient light can close the distance. Their glow tries to reach us, but the ever-expanding fabric carries them farther, like two boats drifting apart on a widening lake. Light attempts to cross, but the water stretches faster than the wave moves. As you breathe in, imagine the cosmic horizon as a delicate boundary of knowledge. As you breathe out, imagine it drifting outward, making more room for possibility. The horizon is not fixed. It grows as time passes. Today, the observable universe spans about 46 billion light-years in every direction, far larger than the universe's age might suggest. This is not a contradiction. It is a testament to expansion. While the light travelled toward us, space stretched beneath it, lengthening the journey and carrying distant galaxies farther than their light alone would imply. But beyond that observable sphere lies a realm we may never witness, no matter how long we wait. Some parts of the universe are receding from us faster than light, because the space between us grows too quickly. Their signals, no matter how long they travel, will never cross the widening gulf. Those places exist, but they are forever beyond our cosmic horizon, like stars hidden behind the curve of the Earth, present but unreachable. There is something softly humbling in this idea. You and I live within a cosmic bubble of visibility, surrounded by an infinity of unknowns. The universe stretches outward in all directions, carrying with it galaxies, clusters, and structures far beyond our sight. And yet, what we can see, the galaxies glowing like lanterns in the darkness, is already breathtakingly vast. Our horizon holds billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, each star with its own dance of worlds. And still, beyond that horizon, the universe continues, quietly, patiently, unseen. As you rest here tonight, let this thought comfort you. The world you perceive is only a fraction of what exists, and what lies beyond your view does not demand your attention. It simply drifts, expanding gently in the background, like a dream still forming beyond consciousness. Every breath widens your inner horizon. Every moment of rest expands your capacity for wonder. The universe is larger than sight, deeper than knowledge, calmer than fear, and its horizon, like your own mind, is always expanding. When we think of speed, we usually imagine objects racing through space, a car accelerating on an empty road, a bird sweeping across open sky, or even light itself moving with unmatched swiftness. But the universe offers a different kind of speed, one that doesn't belong to any object at all. It is the speed not through space, but of space, the speed of expansion. This idea feels strange at first because nothing in daily life behaves this way. Chairs don't drift apart when you're not looking. Buildings don't gently widen the city around them. Seas don't stretch and create new miles of water between distant shores. Yet in the cosmos, this quiet stretching happens everywhere. Distance grows not because objects move, but because space expands beneath them, like a soft tide lifting everything it touches. One of the most surprising consequences of this expansion is that distant galaxies can appear to recede from us faster than the speed of light. This sounds impossible. After all, nothing can travel through space faster than light. But here, the galaxies are not racing through space. The space itself is widening. Light's speed limit applies only to motion within the fabric of space-time, not to the stretching of the fabric itself. Imagine you are lying on a vast calm ocean, floating on your back. Tiny lights, distant galaxies, shimmer across the surface. You begin to notice that some lights are drifting farther away, not because the lights glide across the water, but because the water stretches, widening the space between you and them. The lights themselves remain at rest in their little patches of water. It is the ocean that carries them outward, and if the ocean stretches quickly enough, those lights drift away faster than any wave you send could reach them. This is how the universe behaves. Nearby galaxies remain close because space doesn't expand significantly over small distances. Gravity, like a gentle anchor, keeps clusters together. Our own local group, the Milky Way, Andromeda and their companions, remains bound, unaffected by the expansion of the larger cosmic sea. But farther out, where gravitational bonds are weak and distance is enormous, expansion begins to dominate. There, galaxies drift apart at speeds that make communication impossible. The universe becomes a quiet archipelago of islands, slowly separating across the widening ocean of space-time. Now imagine breathing slowly, deeply. With each inhale, picture the universe widening ever so slightly, not with force, but with inevitability. With each exhale, imagine yourself sinking a little deeper into the fabric of that quiet expansion. The speed of expansion depends on distance. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it appears to recede. This pattern, simple, elegant, is the cosmic rhythm first recognized by Hubble and refined by generations of astronomers. And it is still one of the most mysterious behaviors in all of physics. Why does space expand? What drives this stretching? Why does the speed change over time? We don't know everything, but we know enough to see the beauty in the motion. The universe does not rush. It does not hurry. Its expansion is steady, calm, inevitable. A slow widening of the cosmic breath. As you lie here, surrounded by the quiet of your own room, remember that you are also surrounded by this expanding fabric, carried gently through time by a rhythm older than stars. The universe expands, and in its expansion, there is peace. If expansion were the universe's only motion, everything would drift apart forever. Galaxies, stars, planets, even the atoms that make up your body. The cosmos would become a vast, thinning mist, stretching endlessly without form. But the universe is not just expansion. It is shaped by a second, quieter force. Gravity, the gentle pull that gathers matter together, weaving islands of closeness within an ocean that grows. Gravity is not the tug in the traditional sense, it is not hand pulling objects closer. Instead, it is the curve of space-time itself, the fabric bending under the presence of mass. Wherever there is matter, the fabric dips. Wherever it dips, things fall inward. And this falling is what binds the universe into structures, stars, galaxies, clusters, and the delicate architecture of everything you have ever known. Picture again the dark, velvety fabric we've imagined before. Now place a smooth stone upon it. The cloth curves gently around the weight. If you place a tiny bead nearby, it rolls toward the stone, not because the stone pulls it, but because the curved cloth guides its path. This is gravity. It is the bending of the cosmic fabric, shaping motion, shaping structure, shaping the quiet order of the universe. As the universe expands, gravity works in the opposite direction. It gathers, it anchors, it holds. This is why our Milky Way remains whole, why stars maintain their orbits, why Earth circles the sun without drifting away into the widening dark. On small and medium scales, gravity is stronger than expansion. The fabric stretches, but the curves, carved by mass, remain deep enough to keep objects close. Imagine two people lying on a soft blanket. If the blanket is tugged gently, it stretches, but if the two lie close enough, their shared dip keeps them together. Space behaves the same way. Galaxies within a cluster remain in their shared valley, bound by gravity's embrace, even as the universe expands around them. But on grander scales, where galaxies are distant and connections weaker, gravity cannot hold them together. The fabric stretches faster than the curves can bind. The clusters drift apart like lanterns on a widening sea, each cluster an island of light separated by growing oceans of space. This balance, expansion versus gravity, shapes the entire cosmic story. In the early universe, the fabric was denser. Gravity worked hard, pulling matter into clumps, forming stars and galaxies. Over billions of years, expansion weakened gravity's influence between large structures. The universe became a web of luminous islands, each bound within itself but drifting apart from others. As you breathe tonight, imagine these two forces playing out in your own mind. A gentle pull inward, the gravity of familiar thoughts, memories, and comforts, and a gentle stretch outward, the expansion of imagination, curiosity, and wonder. Both matter, both shape you, just as they shape the cosmos. The universe grows, yet remains stitched together by gravity's quiet hand, and you, resting in your own small corner of space-time, are held by that same balance, anchored where it matters, free where it does not. So let gravity cradle you now. Let expansion open the space around your thoughts, and let yourself drift gently between the two, just as the universe has always done. Before the galaxies formed, before stars carved light into the darkness, before atoms even existed, the universe experienced a moment unlike anything since. A moment so brief, so strange, and so powerful that it shaped everything that would ever follow. This moment is known as cosmic inflation, and it is often described as the universe's first rapid breath. But the word rapid hardly captures its scale. Inflation happened in a fraction of a second, so quickly that the time interval barely fits into human language, and yet, in that unimaginably short moment, the universe expanded faster than anything we can picture. It grew not by miles or trillions of miles, but by factors beyond comprehension, swelling from subatomic size to something vast enough to contain all future galaxies. Imagine holding a tiny speck of dust between your fingers. Now imagine that speck expanding to the size of a galaxy in the time it takes you to blink. Even that comparison is too small, too slow. Inflation outpaces all metaphors, It is growth at the edge of imagination, and yet inflation was not chaotic. It was astonishingly smooth. To understand how inflation set the stage for the universe we know, imagine a sheet of paper that is full of wrinkles. If you stretch it slowly, the wrinkles remain pronounced, but if you stretch it very, very quickly, so quickly that the sheet smooths before the wrinkles can respond, you end up with a perfectly even surface. Inflation did this to the early universe. It stretched out irregularities, smoothing space-time into a uniform canvas, the foundation upon which galaxies later formed. As you breathe tonight, imagine this moment not as an explosion, but as an unfolding, a sudden widening of the cosmic fabric. The universe did not tear, it did not burst apart. It expanded uniformly, like a silent blossom opening in the dark. During inflation, even quantum fluctuations, the tiniest ripples of energy, were stretched to macroscopic scales. These tiny ripples became the seeds of all structure. The galaxies, stars, planets, and eventually life itself grew from microscopic variations amplified by inflation's brief surge. It is humbling to realize that everything you have ever known may trace its origin to quantum whispers in the earliest instant of time. Inflation also explains something profound: why the universe looks nearly the same in every direction, why space appears flat and smooth, why no region seems preferred over another. It is as though the universe took a single, deep breath, a breath so immense that it stretched reality into an almost perfect stillness. A calmness echoed in the cosmic microwave background we see today. The afterglow of creation bears the imprint of that smoothing, the quiet fingerprint of a moment that lasted less than a heartbeat. Now, imagine that first breath as a gentle metaphor for your own experience. Sometimes, a single moment of expansion, a shift in perspective, a deep inhale, a sudden clarity, can reshape the entire landscape of your thoughts. Everything that follows grows from that moment. Everything flows outward from it. Tonight, as you lie here, know that the universe began not with violence, but with a soft, unstoppable widening. A breath that gave rise to everything. A breath that still echoes in the quiet expansion of the cosmos, and perhaps in the quiet expansion within you. In the stillness after inflation's rapid breath, the universe was smooth, astonishingly smooth, like a vast ocean without waves. But even in that perfect calm there were tiny imperfections, minuscule ripples, little quantum fluctuations, no bigger than the smallest whispers of energy. And these delicate ripples stretched across cosmic distances would become everything. Every star, every galaxy, every cluster of galaxies, every world where life could one day emerge. All of it began as microscopic shivers in the early fabric of space-time. Close your eyes and imagine a quiet pond just after dawn. The surface looks perfectly still, but if you look closely, tiny disturbances move across the water, almost invisible tremors caused by the faintest breeze. These ripples seem insignificant, too small to matter. And yet, if the pond were to expand suddenly, stretching every ripple across miles of water, those little disturbances would become grand patterns shaping the entire surface. This is what inflation did to the early universe. It magnified the tiniest fluctuations, quantum ripples smaller than atoms, stretching them across cosmic distances. Once inflation ended, these ripples became slightly denser regions in the otherwise smooth universe, just slightly. 1/100% denser in some places, 1/100% thinner in others, but those gentle variations, like soft hills and valleys in the cosmic fabric, guided the flow of matter for billions of years. Where the ripples were denser, gravity slowly pulled more matter inward. Those regions grew into galaxies. Where the ripples were deeper still, clusters of galaxies formed, great islands of stars bound together in the dark. In the thinnest regions, vast cosmic voids emerged, enormous spaces with almost no galaxies at all. The entire structure of the universe, the cosmic web stretching across billions of light years, is a fossil record of those tiny fluctuations. The early ripples became strands of galaxies, nodes of light, and the great empty expanses between them. Let that settle for a moment. The Milky Way exists because of a quantum tremor. The Sun exists because of a microscopic ripple. You exist because the early universe was not perfectly uniform. A small imbalance created room for stars to ignite, planets to form, oceans to gather, and life to breathe. There is something beautifully humble about this truth. Greatness begins with smallness. Structure begins with softness. The largest patterns in the universe grow from the quietest beginnings. As you breathe in now, imagine those early ripples expanding outward, shaping the cosmos. With each exhale, picture the galaxies forming, slowly, naturally, along the contours of those ancient variations. The universe did not rush. It did not force its structure. It simply followed the gentle pattern written in its first microscopic moments. And maybe there is a quiet lesson hidden here. Even the smallest shifts in your life, a single thought, a new curiosity, a moment of clarity, can become something vast over time. Tiny fluctuations become everything, both in the cosmos and within you. The universe grew from whispers, and so can you. For much of cosmic history, scientists believe that gravity, the quiet force that pulls matter together, should slowly slow the universe's expansion. Galaxies formed, stars gathered, structures grew. All of this required gravity's steady hand, and for a long time it seemed reasonable to imagine that expansion would gradually ease, like a breath settling after a long exhale. But the universe surprised us. It revealed something stranger, quieter, and far more mysterious. In the late 1990s, astronomers studying distant supernovae, exploding stars acting like cosmic lighthouses, expected to find that the universe's expansion was slowing down. Instead, they found the opposite. The expansion was speeding up. Galaxies were drifting apart faster than before, as if the cosmic fabric were being stretched with increasing enthusiasm. Something unseen was pushing the universe outward. Something subtle. Something everywhere. Something no one had predicted. This unknown driver was named dark energy, a phrase as quiet and mysterious as the phenomenon it describes. Dark energy does not behave like matter. It does not cluster. It does not form stars or galaxies. It does not bend space-time the way gravity does. Instead, it acts like a gentle pressure woven into the fabric of the universe, a soft, persistent push that becomes more noticeable as space grows. Imagine lying in a vast field at night, watching fog rise across the landscape. At first, the fog drifts slowly. Then, as the night deepens and the air shifts, the fog begins to spread more quickly, filling the valleys and hills with greater ease. Nothing is pushing it. Nothing directs it. The fog simply spreads because conditions allow it to. Dark energy behaves similarly. Not a force in the traditional sense, but a property of space that causes expansion to accelerate. One way to picture it is to imagine the cosmic fabric not as a passive cloth, but as a material with a built-in tendency to expand, like a very soft sponge that naturally swells when not constrained. The more space there is, the more room dark energy has to express itself, and the stronger its influence becomes. Over time, this influence overtakes gravity on the larger scales, pulling galaxies farther and farther apart. As you breathe deeply now, imagine dark energy as a quiet exhale filling the universe. Not a dramatic gust, not a forceful wind, but a soft pressure that encourages space to widen. With each inhale, feel the grounding pull of gravity. With each exhale, sense the universe's gentle push outward. These two motions, inward and outward, shape the cosmos together. Dark energy is still one of the greatest mysteries in science. We do not know what it is. We do not know why it exists. We do not know whether it will remain constant or change over time. Yet we can observe its effects in the quiet acceleration of galaxies drifting apart, like lanterns slowly carried by an unseen current. And perhaps there is a soothing lesson here. Not everything that shapes a life is visible. Sometimes the strongest influences, a feeling, a shift, a gentle nudge, are subtle, quiet, and pervasive, like dark energy weaving its way through the cosmos. The universe accelerates softly, gracefully, without urgency, a gentle push toward openness, a reminder that even in vastness there is motion, even in stillness there is growth. The universe does not expand at a constant pace. It is not a clock ticking with perfect rhythm, nor a river flowing with unchanging speed. Instead, the rate of expansion has shifted across cosmic history, slowing, balancing, and eventually speeding up again. This evolving tempo is one of the universe's most elegant mysteries, a quiet story written across billions of years. Imagine the cosmos as a great breath. Not one inhaled all at once, but one that changes character as time passes. A long, patient exhale that begins powerfully, softens, pauses, then unexpectedly grows stronger again. This is the rhythm of cosmic expansion. In the very beginning, during the era of inflation, the expansion was unimaginably fast, a surge beyond anything we can compare to ordinary experience. But once inflation ended, the universe began to cool, matter began to form, and gravity took on a central role. The early cosmos was dense, full of energy and particles and light. Gravity, strong in that compact environment, began to slow the expansion. For billions of years this slowdown continued. Galaxies took shape. Star clusters grew. Superclusters began forming the cosmic web. The universe was expanding, yes, but at a decreasing pace, like a wave rolling gently across a still lake. Then something changed. About 5 billion years ago, the universe reached a delicate balance point. Gravity's inward pull and space's outward stretch came into an almost perfect equilibrium. For a moment, the cosmic breath nearly steadied, but the balance didn't last. As the universe expanded, matter spread out. Galaxies drifted apart. Gravity's influence weakened across the larger scales. And as space widened, the quiet, pervasive effect of dark energy began to dominate. The expansion, once slowing, began to accelerate, softly at first, then steadily, like a tide gaining momentum under a calm moon. Today the universe expands faster than it did billions of years ago, and billions of years from now it will expand even faster still, not explosively, not violently, but with gentle, unhurried determination. The kind of change you only notice if you step back and watch the cosmos over eons. As you lie here, imagine that shifting tempo, the early rush of birth, the long calming slowdown, the gentle quickening that followed. This rhythm mirrors moments in our own inner lives. There are times when everything seems to move quickly, new experiences, new emotions, new directions, then phases when life slows, settles, stabilizes, and finally, times when we find a new momentum, a subtle shift that carries us forward in ways we didn't expect. The universe teaches us that pace is not constant, motion is not uniform, growth does not follow a straight line. Instead, everything changes in cycles: expansion, contraction, equilibrium, acceleration. This cosmic rhythm is part of what makes the universe alive with possibility. The tempo shifts, not because something forces it to, but because the fabric of reality responds to the balance of matter, energy, and space itself. So as you breathe tonight, feel the quiet wisdom hidden in that cosmic shift. Your life's pace will change too. It is natural. It is beautiful. It is part of the unfolding of everything. The universe expands, and the rate at which it expands evolves gently with time, a cosmic reminder that change, even subtle change, shapes all things. How do we know the universe is expanding? How can something so vast, so subtle, so immeasurably slow on human timescales be detected by beings living on a small, fragile world? The answer lies in our ability to observe light, ancient, travelling, patient light, and to measure the quiet pattern it carries across the cosmos. When astronomers look into the sky, they are not simply seeing stars, they are seeing time. Every distant galaxy is a messenger from the past, its glow carrying the record of how the universe looked when that light began its journey. And because space expands as the light travels, the light stretches with it, revealing the growth of the cosmos etched into its very wavelength. One of the most powerful tools for observing this growth is the study of supernovae, exploding stars that brighten with astonishing predictability. Certain types, called type ER supernovae, act like cosmic lighthouses. They all reach nearly the same peak brightness, making them ideal markers for measuring distance. By comparing how bright a supernova appears from Earth with how bright it should be, astronomers can determine how far away it is. Then, by examining its redshift, the soft lengthening of its light, they can determine how fast its host galaxy is receding. Distance and recession, brightness and colour. Two pieces of information that allow us to read the expansion of the universe like notes on a cosmic score. In the 1990s, two teams of astronomers used these supernovae to make a discovery that changed everything. The expansion was accelerating. This acceleration revealed the presence of dark energy, the gentle push we explored earlier. But the tools that uncovered this mystery are themselves simple, patient acts of observation. A telescope trained on a single speck of sky, waiting for a star to brighten, then carefully measuring its glow. As you breathe, imagine yourself looking through such a telescope, through a narrow circle of glass into the depths of the universe. Light from a distant galaxy arrives after billions of years, touching your eyes with a message from the past. Its colour, its faintness, its spectrum, all whisper clues about the expansion of space. But supernovae are not the only way to observe the universe's growth. Astronomers also use the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the early universe, its temperature fluctuations revealing the universe's geometry. Baryon acoustic oscillations, ripples frozen into the large-scale structure of galaxies, like fossilized sound waves. Galaxy surveys, immense maps that chart the distribution of millions of galaxies across billions of light years. Gravitational lensing, the bending of light by mass which reveals the invisible scaffolding of the cosmos. Each method is a different way of listening to the universe's breath. Each one confirms the same quiet truth. The cosmos grows. When you look at the night sky, even with your unaided eyes, you're witnessing the result of that expansion. The constellations appear timeless, but the light is old, stretched, softened. Every star is a memory. Every galaxy is a story told across billions of years. There is something deeply comforting in this. You do not need to rush to understand the universe. It speaks slowly. It reveals its growth gently, patiently, in the language of light. Tonight, as you rest, imagine that distant glow entering your awareness, a soft, ancient message travelling across expanding space, reaching you exactly when it was meant to. When you step outside at night and look up at the stars, the sky feels eternal. The constellations appear fixed, the same patterns that guided ancient travellers across oceans and deserts. Orion lifts his bright shoulder. The Pleiades shimmer like a tiny cluster of diamonds. The Milky Way drapes itself across the heavens in a soft, luminous river. Everything seems timeless. But this sense of permanence is an illusion created by scale. The night sky is not still. It is changing, slowly, gently, almost imperceptibly, shaped by the expansion of the universe. Imagine the constellations as a delicate mobile hanging above you. Each star is a bead suspended in space. Some are near, some far, some astonishingly distant. As the universe expands, the space between galaxies widens, and even the positions of stars inside our galaxy shift over long periods. The mobile turns, not with abrupt movement, but with a slow, cosmic breeze. Over thousands of years, the familiar patterns drift. Stars shift their apparent positions due to their own motion through the Milky Way. But over millions or billions of years, an even deeper change unfolds. Galaxies far beyond our own continue to recede. Their light stretches, reddens, and eventually becomes too faint to see. The night sky we know today is a snapshot, a single frame in a long unfolding film. Let that thought settle softly. The stars you see tonight are not the stars your distant descendants will see. The sky is a living tapestry, woven by motion, distance, and expansion. Even the Milky Way's closest neighbour, the Andromeda Galaxy, drifts toward us due to gravity, but the rest of the universe drifts away. One day, far in the future, the night sky will transform. Many galaxies that are visible today will fade beyond the cosmic horizon, carried away by accelerating expansion. Their ancient light will continue to soften, lengthen, and disappear into wavelengths too faint for any eye or telescope to catch. But this isn't sad. It's peaceful, a reminder that everything in the universe flows. As you breathe slowly, imagine the sky above you as a vast ocean. The stars are like gentle waves, sparkling on the surface. The galaxies beyond are distant ships, drifting across the current of space-time itself. With each inhale, imagine the ocean widening. With each exhale, imagine yourself floating deeper into its calm. The expanding night sky also holds a quiet lesson about time. When you look at distant galaxies, you see not where they are, but where they were, long ago. The farther away they are, the deeper into the past you gaze. The universe becomes a layered memory stretching across billions of years. Light from distant galaxies carries stories of a younger cosmos, a universe still learning its shape. So when you look up tonight, remember that you are witnessing history. You are watching the cosmos expand in slow motion. You are seeing light that has travelled across changing space, revealing a universe that does not stay still. And while the stars seem fixed, the truth is far more beautiful. Everything above you, every galaxy, every cluster, every faint spark is drifting, not aimlessly, but as part of a grand, gentle flow. The night sky is expanding, and in that expansion it becomes a quiet poem written across time. Light is the fastest thing we know. It races across the cosmos at nearly 300,000 kilometers per second, swift enough to circle Earth 7 times in a single heartbeat. And yet, in an expanding universe, even light, the great traveller, the cosmic messenger, cannot outrun the stretching of space. It is carried by it, lengthened by it, softened by it. The universe leaves its quiet fingerprints on every photon that journeys through its widening fabric. Imagine holding a beam of light in your hands, if such a thing were possible. At first it feels energetic, vibrant, alive with colour. But as you gently pull your hands apart, the beam begins to stretch. Its waves lengthen, its colours shift. The blue softens to red. The red softens to infrared. The light grows cooler, gentler, quieter. In the universe, space performs this stretching with every moment, subtly transforming light as it travels. This process is called cosmic redshifting, and it is the universe's way of whispering its history. Long ago, when the cosmos was young and compact, light moved easily through a denser fabric. But as space expanded, every photon found its journey extended. A ray of light emitted billions of years ago may have been compact and blue when it began. but by the time it reaches us, after crossing oceans of expanding space, it has stretched into a softer, redder hue. Sometimes it stretches so far that it becomes invisible to human eyes, slipping into the infrared or even microwave part of the spectrum. This is why distant galaxies appear dim, not because their stars are weak, but because their light has travelled through a universe that has grown beneath it. The most stunning example of stretched light is the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can see. It began as searing radiation, brilliant, energetic, almost blinding. But over nearly 14 billion years, expansion softened it into a cool, uniform microwave glow. What was once the brightness of creation is now a faint, gentle warmth filling all of space. As you lie here, breathe softly and imagine that ancient light flowing through you, a message from the dawn of time, a glow stretched by eons of expanding space, a relic of the universe's first light, now calm enough to lull you towards sleep. Expansion not only dims light, it also changes what we can know. There are galaxies whose light is so redshifted that it may never reach us. They drift away faster than their photons can cross the expanding gulf. Their stories remain unwritten in our sky, not lost, just forever beyond our cosmic horizon. But the light we can see is profound. It tells us about the universe's age, its composition, its history. It tells us that time stretches as space stretches, that memories like photons can fade into softness while still holding truth. Perhaps there is a quiet metaphor hidden here. As your life expands, the events of the past grow softer, less sharp, less blue. But they remain, stretched into something gentler, not lost but transformed by time's steady widening. The universe shows us that even the brightest moments eventually become warm, quiet echoes, still meaningful, still present, just softer. Light does not disappear, it becomes calm. And in an expanding universe, everything, even radiance, learns to rest. When we speak of the expanding universe, it can feel distant, something happening out there, far beyond the quiet circle of our familiar night sky, but expansion is not separate from us. We are inside it, carried by it, part of it. And the best way to understand this is to picture the universe from the perspective of our own home galaxy, the Milky Way, a glowing spiral adrift in the cosmic sea. Imagine floating far above our galaxy, looking down at it from a serene vantage point. The Milky Way spreads beneath you like a luminous whirlpool, billions of stars rotating in a slow, celestial dance. The spiral arms curl like soft waves of starlight. Dust lanes weave through them like dark rivers. At the centre, a bright bulge glows with the combined light of countless suns, and around it all a halo of ancient stars flickers like embers from a forgotten fire. It is beautiful. It is immense. And yet in the grand scale of the cosmos, it is just one island in an ocean of galaxies. From this quiet vantage, you can see how the Milky Way relates to the expansion of the universe. Our galaxy, like all bound structures, is held together by gravity. The stars inside it do not drift apart because expansion is too weak on such small scales to overcome gravity's pull. Space may stretch, but the galaxy remains whole, a single, united swirl of starlight. The same is true of our local group, the small family of galaxies surrounding the Milky Way. The Andromeda Galaxy, our largest neighbour, does not drift away with the expansion. It falls toward us, pulled by gravity's gentle hand. In a few billion years, the Milky Way and Andromeda will merge in a slow, graceful collision, forming a new galaxy whose stars will orbit in fresh, intricate patterns. Expansion does not prevent this. Gravity still whispers where matter is close enough to hear it. Beyond our local group, however, the story changes. When you look farther, Past our nearest companions, galaxies begin to drift away. The Coma cluster, the Virgo cluster, the great filaments that make up the cosmic web, all slowly recede, not because they are moving through space, but because the space between us and them stretches. Our Milky Way, held tight to its neighbours, floats within a stable valley of gravity while the wider universe expands around it. As you breathe slowly, imagine yourself drifting through these layers, the intimate closeness of our galaxy, the soft gravitational bonds of our local group, the widening gulf beyond, a nested structure of stillness and motion. To us, standing on Earth, the stars seem fixed, the galaxy seems permanent, but from a cosmic perspective, we are part of a vast flowing tapestry. The expansion of the universe shapes the distances between galaxy clusters. Gravity shapes the structure within them. Together, these forces create a dynamic, living cosmos in which our galaxy is one glowing thread among countless others. There is comfort in this view. Even in a universe that expands forever, there are places of connection. Even as galaxies drift apart, some remain entwined. Even as distances grow, meaning forms within the spaces. You live in the Milky Way, a small place in an immense cosmos, but a place held together by gravity, by rhythm, by light. A place where stars stay close even as the universe stretches toward infinity. Tonight, rest in that understanding. Your cosmic home drifts gently through an expanding sea, bound by quiet forces older than time. If you could take a tiny window and hold it up against the night sky, a window no larger than a grain of sand held at arm's length, you might expect to see almost nothing through it. A few faint stars, perhaps, a patch of darkness, empty space. But when astronomers pointed the Hubble Space Telescope at such an unassuming patch of sky in 1995, they discovered something astonishing. Something humbling, something deeply silent and deeply full. Inside that tiny window were thousands of galaxies. Not stars, galaxies, each one containing billions of suns, each one drifting, expanding, glowing softly in the cosmic dark. This image became known as the Hubble Deep Field, and later the Ultra Deep Field, and even the Extreme Deep Field, successively deeper looks into the universe's distant past. These images revealed something quietly profound. The universe is full to its edges. Even the darkest, most barren-looking parts of the sky contain oceans of galaxies. Let that thought settle in your mind like a soft snowfall. Where you expect emptiness, the universe holds abundance. Where you imagine stillness, it holds stories billions of years old. Imagine now that you're floating inside one of these deep field images. Around you hang thousands of galaxies, scattered like glowing petals on a dark pond. Some are small and faint, barely visible whispers of light from the early universe. Others are grand spirals, majestic and complex. Many are distorted, stretched by cosmic expansion during their long journey to your eyes. As you drift deeper, the silence becomes almost tangible. Not an empty silence, but the kind filled with presence. A silence that holds time, memory, distance. A silence shaped by light that has travelled for billions of years. Each of these faint galaxies is a messenger from a younger universe. Some emitted their light when the cosmos was only a few 100 million years old, a child still warm from its creation. The light we see now is a time capsule, stretched and softened by expansion, carrying echoes of the universe's early structure. When you gaze into a deep field image, you're not looking at one moment. You're looking through time itself. The farther the galaxy, the younger the universe it shows, the deeper the light, the longer the silence it carries. As you breathe in, imagine drawing that ancient light closer, letting it drift gently into your awareness. As you breathe out, Imagine releasing yourself into the vast calm of the cosmic dark. The deep field silence also reveals something else. The universe is not only expanding, it has been expanding for so long that we are now able to see childhood galaxies, tiny and bright, forming their first stars. The faintest specks in these images are not just far away. They are early chapters in the universe's story, preserved like pressed flowers in the fabric of space-time. And yet, even in their faintness, these galaxies shine. They show us that creation continues everywhere. That light endures across unimaginable distances, that the universe, for all its vastness, is illuminated by the quiet persistence of stars. There is comfort in this deep field silence, in the realization that even the smallest patch of sky holds worlds beyond counting, in the understanding that you, lying here tonight, are connected to those distant galaxies by threads of stretched light. The universe is full, the universe is quiet, the universe is expanding, and in its expansion it offers endless room for wonder. There is a boundary to our vision, not a wall, not a physical edge, but a limit set by time, distance, and the relentless widening of space. This boundary is known as the cosmological horizon, the invisible sphere beyond which light will never reach us. It marks the separation between the part of the universe we can observe and the part we will never, ever touch, no matter how patient we are, no matter how powerful our telescopes become. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast, infinite ocean under a moonlit sky. You can see the waves near you, shimmering softly. You can see the distant glimmer where water meets night. But you cannot see the far side of the ocean, not because it isn't there, but because the curve of the earth hides it. The horizon marks not the end of the ocean, but the end of your sight. The cosmological horizon is similar, but far more elusive. It is shaped by the speed of light and the expansion of space itself. Light has a finite speed. It can only travel so far in a given amount of time, and because the universe has a beginning, there is only so much light that has had time to reach us since then. That alone defines a limit, the observable universe, the region from which light has arrived during the universe's 13.8 billion year history. But the horizon is not just about time, it is also about expansion. As space stretches, distant galaxies drift away from us faster than their light can close the gap. Imagine two boats on a lake drifting apart. One sends a tiny ripple toward the other, but the water between them widens so quickly that the ripple never arrives. It is not because the ripple is slow, but because the lake itself is expanding beneath it. This is exactly what happens with galaxies beyond our cosmic horizon. Their light is swallowed by the widening of space, never able to reach us. Their stories remain forever beyond our knowing, not lost, just unreachable. And here lies a quiet, humbling truth. The universe is much larger than the part we can see, perhaps infinitely larger. The galaxies, clusters, and cosmic structures we observe are just the illuminated heart of a far grander expanse, a region we will never access, no matter how long we wait, no matter how refined our instruments become. Some places are simply receding too quickly, carried by dark energy's soft acceleration into permanent obscurity. As you breathe in, imagine the horizon expanding gently outward. As you breathe out, imagine yourself drifting peacefully inside this observable bubble, safe in its soft glow of ancient light. This horizon doesn't diminish the universe. It deepens its mystery. It reminds us that there are realms we cannot reach, not because we are small, but because reality itself grows too quickly for light to bridge. And yet within our cosmic horizon lies incredible beauty. Billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, each star with its own quiet dance. Enough wonder to fill 1,000 lifetimes of curiosity. There is something comforting about knowing that mystery persists, that the universe will always hold places just out of reach. that not knowing everything is part of the gentle rhythm of existence. You do not have to see the whole universe to feel connected to it. You only need to know that it flows outward, endlessly, carrying its unseen regions like distant dreams, expanding softly, beyond sight, beyond time. When we hear that the universe is expanding, it's natural to imagine a centre, a single point from which everything stretches outward, like ripples spreading from a stone dropped into a pond. We instinctively search for origins, for middles, for directions. But the universe offers something far more subtle, far more counterintuitive, and far more beautiful. There is no centre at all, not in space, not in time, not anywhere. Imagine baking a raisin-filled loaf of bread. As the dough rises, each raisin sees every other raisin drifting away. If you asked any one raisin where the expansion is centred, it would point to itself. Every raisin would. In truth, the expansion has no preferred location. The dough expands everywhere, uniformly, with no special point of origin inside it. The universe behaves the same way. Every galaxy sees other galaxies drifting away. Every patch of space expands like rising dough, and no matter where you stand, it feels as though the expansion radiates outward from you. But this is an illusion created by uniform growth. Now close your eyes and imagine space as a seamless, boundless fabric. No edges, no corners, no centre. As it stretches, every part widens at the same rate. If you were floating deep within it, you would feel like the fabric expands around you. But if you drifted to another region far away, the view would look the same. There is no privileged location, no cosmic middle. Expansion happens everywhere at once. This is difficult for our minds because we evolved in a world of objects with clear boundaries, balls, waves, ripples, explosions. But the universe didn't begin in space. It began as space. There was no empty void waiting to be filled. There was only an initial moment of existence, and then everything expanded from everywhere. As you breathe in, imagine the fabric of reality stretching uniformly in all directions. As you breathe out, feel yourself floating at a point that is not central, but simply part of the whole. People sometimes ask, if there is no centre, where did the Big Bang happen? The answer is simple yet profound. It happened everywhere. Every point in space was once compressed together in the early universe. Every point has been expanding ever since. You're living inside that unfolding. Your position is not central, but it is not peripheral either. You're part of a cosmic bloom that has no inside or outside, only growth. There is deep comfort in this realization. If the universe had a centre, some places would be closer to its beginning than others. Some places would feel more important, but in a universe with no centre, every location carries equal significance. Every point in space shares the same cosmic history. Every galaxy participates in the same grand widening. It means that Earth is not in a special spot, nor is it in an unimportant one. We exist in a place as valid as any other, held gently by the same expanding fabric that cradles all galaxies. This reminds us of something quietly human. Life often teaches us to search for the centre of meaning, the centre of purpose, the centre of identity. But perhaps meaning does not reside in a single point. Perhaps it emerges from the whole, from everything expanding around and within us. There is no centre of the universe, but there is a centre to your experience, here, now, resting in the calm dark, listening to the gentle truth that you belong to a cosmos without edges or hierarchy, a universe where everything expands together. Time is usually something we imagine as a steady flow, a river moving in one direction, carrying moments from the future into the present and on toward the past. But in an expanding universe, time is woven into space, inseparable from its stretching and bending. To understand the cosmos, we must imagine time not as a separate stream, but as a thread in the same fabric that expands all around us. The expansion of the universe doesn't just change distances, It changes time itself. Imagine lying on a vast hammock woven from threads of space and time. When the hammock stretches, the threads pull apart in every direction. Your body sinks a little deeper. Your sense of balance shifts. The tension changes. This is how the universe behaves. As space stretches, time stretches with it, subtly reshaping the rhythm of cosmic events. In the early universe, when everything was compressed and hot, time ran differently. The density of matter and energy was immense. Particles collided constantly, interactions unfolded rapidly, and the expansion was dominated by that dense press of existence. Time felt thicker, in a sense, more crowded, more frantic, more condensed. As the universe expanded and cooled, the pace changed. Interactions slowed. Distances increased. Processes stretched out. The formation of galaxies, the burning of stars, the growth of cosmic structures, all these occurred within an evolving fabric where the meaning of a second was shaped by the conditions of the cosmos. Now, imagine watching a distant galaxy through a telescope. You observe its light as it flickers softly across the dark. But that light is ancient. It carries with it not just distance, but time dilation. The stretching of time caused by the expansion of space. What you see is a slowed version of the galaxy's past, events unfolding in a tempo softened by the widening universe. This deep connection between expansion and time helps explain why we can look back almost to the moment of the Big Bang. The light from those early times has been stretched not just in colour but in duration. Moments that once happened quickly now unfold slowly in the light we receive. The universe offers us a slowed motion memory of its youth. As you breathe now, imagine your inhale stretching the thread of time just slightly, and your exhale relaxing it. In reality, your breath does not affect the cosmos, but the metaphor helps reveal a truth. Time is flexible. It is influenced by gravity, by velocity, and by the expansion of space itself. This flexibility teaches us something quietly profound. Time in your life is not constant either. Moments expand, moments contract. Days can feel stretched, years can feel compressed. Memories can unfold slowly or quickly depending on the fabric of your experience, your emotions, your environment, your inner world. Just as the universe's tempo shifts with expansion, so does yours. Instead of imagining time as a fixed river, think of it as the cosmos does, a woven pattern, shaped by motion, shaped by gravity, shaped by expansion. The universe does not run on an absolute clock, neither do we. As the cosmos expands, time unfolds with it, patient, adaptable, mysterious. And you, resting here tonight, are carried by that same fabric, drifting gently along the ever-stretching threads of existence. In the earliest moments of the universe, everything was impossibly hot. Space was dense with particles, energy, and radiation, so compact and fiery that no atoms could form. It was a place of constant collisions, bursting photons, and ceaseless motion. But as the universe expanded, something simple and beautiful happened. It cooled, slowly, gently, inevitably. Expansion stretches not only distances but also energy. When light stretches, it loses intensity. When particles drift apart, they collide less often. Heat dissipates, everything settles. This cooling is not a sudden drop into coldness. It is a long, soft decline, like the fading warmth of tea left on a quiet table. Imagine holding a cup of warm water in your hands. At first, the warmth pulses gently into your palms. With time, without any effort from you, the water cools. Not because heat has vanished, but because energy spreads out into the surrounding air. The universe behaves the same way. As space grows, energy spreads across a larger and larger domain, becoming thinner, gentler, colder. In the first few minutes after the Big Bang, temperatures were so intense that even the nuclei of atoms were forming. This period is known as Big Bang nucleosynthesis, the moment when the first ingredients of matter, hydrogen, helium, and a trace of lithium, took shape in the fiery newborn cosmos. But as the universe continued to expand and cool, atoms finally formed. Electrons, once knocked free by violent collisions, could now settle gently into orbit around nuclei. The universe became transparent to light for the first time. Photons that had been bouncing endlessly between particles were suddenly free to travel. This moment released the light that would eventually become the cosmic microwave background, the cool, uniform glow we detect today. All of this was possible only because the universe continued to grow. Expansion allowed heat to dissipate. Cooling allowed structure to emerge. The cosmos transitioned from chaos to calm, from fire to form. As the universe aged, stars ignited, galaxies formed, and planets coalesced. But even now, billions of years later, the universe continues its slow cooling. Space is far colder than any winter on Earth, just a few degrees above absolute zero. And as expansion accelerates, the cooling will continue, stretching energy thinner and thinner across an ever-growing volume. Imagine yourself lying under a blanket on a cold night. The warmth of your body slowly diffuses into the air around you. It's not something you feel immediately. It's a quiet, gradual process. Over time, the blanket cools. The universe is wrapped in a similar endless cooling, an ancient warmth stretching thinner with every billion years. But within this cooling lies a profound truth. Cold makes structure possible. Cooling allowed atoms to form. Cooling allowed stars to ignite. Cooling allowed galaxies to swirl. Cooling allowed life to emerge on a tiny blue world, drifting through a widening universe. If the cosmos had not cooled, it would still be a brilliant, blinding fog of energy. Too hot, too dense, too chaotic for anything stable to exist. As you breathe tonight, feel the calm of that ancient cooling. Feel how the universe moved from fire into stillness, from heat into harmony. That transition lives in every atom of your body, each one forged in a universe that cooled just enough to let it form. In the expansion and cooling of everything, there is quiet purpose. A slow unfolding that made room for stars, and for you. Long before stars kindled their first fires, long before galaxies spun their elegant spirals, long before space darkened enough for night to even exist, the universe glowed. A warm, radiant haze filled everything, uniform, bright, almost blinding. Photons bounced endlessly between particles, unable to travel freely. The cosmos was like a dense fog illuminated from within, a world of pure light and heat where nothing yet had form. And then, as the universe expanded and cooled, something extraordinary happened. The fog lifted. Light was set free. This freed light is what we now call the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, a faint, cool glow that fills the entire sky. Not bright enough to see with human eyes, but detectable as a whisper in the microwave spectrum. It is the oldest light we can observe, a soft afterglow from a universe only 380,000 years old. Imagine switching off all the lamps in your room and sitting in absolute darkness. Now imagine that the darkness isn't empty at all, but filled with a faint, gentle warmth, like the lingering glow of a fire long since extinguished. That is the CMB, the quiet warmth of creation, stretched thin by billions of years of expansion. At the moment this ancient light was released, the universe had cooled enough for electrons and nuclei to combine. Once atoms formed, the fog of free particles cleared, and photons could travel across space without constant scattering. These photons, eke tiny lanterns, began their journey across the widening universe, and they have been travelling ever since. But as space expanded, the light stretched, its waves lengthened, its temperature dropped. What was once a fiery brightness gradually softened into microwaves just a few degrees above absolute zero. The CMB is no longer warm in the human sense, but it remains the gentle echo of a universe young, dense, and full of possibility. When astronomers map the CMB, they find something remarkable. It is almost perfectly uniform. Almost. Tiny variations, differences of just one part in 100,000, speckle the map. These tiny temperature fluctuations correspond to the ancient density ripples you explored earlier, the minuscule variations that would grow into galaxies, clusters, and cosmic structures. These faint patterns are the oldest blueprint we have of the universe, the first sketch, the first hint of all that would come. As you breathe now, imagine that soft glow surrounding you, not as distant light, but as a quiet, universal presence. The CMB doesn't shine from one direction or another. It envelops everything. It is the background of reality itself. Every direction you look, every patch of sky, every moment of night is gently filled with this ancient warmth. You are wrapped in it even now. The CMB is a reminder of how far the universe has travelled, from blinding brightness to deep, calm darkness, from fire to structure, from turbulent heat to gentle expansion. The glow we see today is the universe's memory of its own beginning, softened into a lullaby by time. And there is a quiet lesson here too. Even the brightest, most intense moments eventually soften. Even the overwhelming becomes gentle. Even the earliest chaos becomes the background for new growth. The universe remembers its beginning, and it remembers it softly. When you look at the night sky, everything feels permanent. The stars appear fixed in their constellations. The Milky Way seems like an eternal river of light. Galaxies, though distant, shine with a sense of timeless stability. But in an expanding universe, nothing remains exactly as it is. Expansion touches everything, not always directly, but inevitably, shaping the future of stars, galaxies, and the cosmic structures that cradle them. To understand this, imagine a city at night. Buildings stand tall, streets remain familiar, and the skyline seems unchanging. Yet beyond the city limits, the landscape stretches outward. Fields expanding, roads lengthening, horizons drifting farther away. Inside the city, life continues. Outside, space grows. The universe is similar. Clusters of galaxies and individual galaxies are bound together by gravity, but the space between clusters expands steadily. Inside galaxies, stars remain close. Inside clusters, galaxies dance in shared gravity wells. But beyond these local regions, expansion pulls everything apart. This leads to a quiet, profound truth. Gravity creates islands of stability in an ocean of growing distance. Within the Milky Way, stars orbit their center as they always have. Expansion doesn't tear our galaxy apart because gravity is strong here. The same is true for most galaxies you see in deep field images. Their stars stay bound, their spiral arms remain intact, their glowing centers continue to hum with ancient light. But between galaxies, especially between galaxy clusters, space stretches. Over billions of years, these distances grow. Galaxy clusters become like archipelagos drifting apart across an expanding sea. Communication between them slows. Light travelling from one cluster to another becomes stretched, dimmed, redshifted until it fades from view. Now, imagine yourself floating high above the cosmic web, the grand structure of clusters and filaments that span the universe. At first, you see brilliant threads of galaxies stretching in every direction. But as ages pass, these threads thin. The spaces widen. The universe becomes more like a scattered constellation of light, each galaxy cluster growing more isolated, each island of stars drifting into solitude. This does not mean the universe becomes empty. It becomes quiet. Stars still ignite within galaxies. Planets still form around newborn suns. Galaxies still swirl, merge, and evolve. Life continues to flourish wherever conditions allow. But the cosmic landscape expands, creating more room for silence, more room for darkness, more room for the quiet glow of distant galaxies. Over unimaginably long timescales, expansion shapes even the fate of stars. As galaxies drift farther apart, gravitational encounters become rare. The cosmic fuel for star formation grows sparse. Eventually galaxies will settle into long, slow fades, still glowing, still beautiful, but gentler, older, quieter. And yet, within each galaxy, stars live out their stories. They shine, they burn, they give light to worlds. They leave behind white dwarfs, neutron stars and black holes, cosmic embers in the dark. None of this is rushed. None of it is violent. It is simply the natural unfolding of a universe that expands with patience. As you breathe tonight, imagine the stars of the Milky Way glowing softly around you, bound together even as the wider cosmos stretches outward. Imagine each galaxy drifting in slow motion across the fabric of space-time, carried by the expansion like lanterns on a widening river. And let this thought soothe you. Even within a universe that expands forever, there are places of closeness, places of light, places where gravity holds things together, just as in your own life. Expansion and connection coexist, one creating room, the other giving meaning. The stars will continue to shine, the galaxies will continue to breathe, all shaped gently by the universe's widening embrace. When you imagine the universe, you might picture a vast machine, cold, mechanical, ticking with mathematical precision. But if you look closer, if you listen softly, you may begin to sense something different. The universe is not a machine. It is a story, a living, unfolding narrative shaped by time, motion, light, and the quiet expansion of everything. Every galaxy is a chapter, every star is a sentence, every planet is a phrase, every moment of your life is a word written into the same cosmic manuscript. This story began not with a loud explosion, but with a gentle unfolding, a moment of pure potential expanding outward. And ever since, the universe has continued to write itself through the slow growth of space, the cooling of matter, the birth of stars, the drifting of galaxies, and the deepening of cosmic structure. Imagine now that you are floating above the entire cosmos. Below you lies a tapestry woven from countless lights, clusters, filaments, nebulae, spirals, and halos. To the eye it appears frozen, but you know it is alive with motion. Galaxies recede, their distances lengthening like lines being written across a page. Stars ignite, burn, dim, and fade. Black holes grow and release quiet bursts of energy. Even the emptiness between things is not empty. It stretches, allowing the next lines of the story to be written. This is a living universe, and expansion is its heartbeat. With every moment, the cosmos becomes something new. Not because something dramatic happens, but because space itself grows, changing the relationships between all things. Distance increases, horizons widen, structures evolve. And through it all, the universe expresses a kind of gentle creativity, always becoming, always unfolding. As you breathe slowly, imagine inhaling the story of the cosmos. With each inhale, sense the vastness expanding. With each exhale, feel yourself settling into your own chapter. You're not separate from this story. You're written into it. The atoms in your lungs were forged in the hearts of ancient stars, stars that lived and died long before Earth existed. The carbon in your body, the oxygen in your blood, the calcium in your bones all began as cosmic dust pulled together by gravity, shaped by time, refined by stellar furnaces. Expansion carried those atoms across space, allowing them to drift, collide, and settle into new forms. Eventually they settled here, into the life you live now. You carry the universe within you. Its story is your story. When you hear about expansion, you're hearing about the way the narrative continues to grow. When galaxies drift apart, the chapters separate, giving rise to new arcs, new threads, new possibilities. When dark energy accelerates expansion, the story widens its horizon, opening more space for future events. There is poetry in this, a story that writes itself larger every moment, a universe that becomes more spacious, more subtle, more mysterious, a cosmos that evolves not toward conclusion, but toward endless continuation. As you drift toward rest tonight, imagine yourself lying between the lines of this great cosmic book. The expansion is not something happening somewhere far away. It is happening around you, through you, within you. You are part of the narrative. You are part of the unfolding. The universe lives, and its story continues, gently, endlessly, beautifully. Infinity is a word we often use casually to describe something enormous, uncountable, unreachable. But in the context of the universe, infinity becomes something deeper, something quieter, something almost impossible to fully imagine. And when you place that idea of infinity inside an expanding cosmos, you arrive at one of the most mysterious, most poetic truths we know. Even if the universe is infinite, it can still expand. It sounds impossible at first. How can something that has no boundary grow? How can infinity become more infinite? But the cosmos is not limited by the edges of our intuition. It follows its own rhythm, its own rules, woven into the very geometry of space-time. Imagine a sheet stretching out in every direction endlessly. No edges, no borders, no outer boundary. Now imagine that sheet gently expanding, every point drifting from every other point, not because the sheet has an edge, but because the distance between points increases everywhere at once. An infinite surface can grow, not by adding more area at the edges, but by stretching internally, by increasing the spacing between its points. Space behaves exactly like this. The universe may be infinite, or it may be extremely large but finite. We don't yet know. But what we do know is that expansion is a geometric stretching, not an outward movement. It does not require more space to expand into. It only requires itself. As you breathe in, imagine those infinite distances stretching slightly. As you breathe out, imagine settling gently into the comfort of that widening stillness. Infinity in motion is a quiet idea, not a loud one. It tells us that scale is not fixed, that even the largest possible thing can evolve, that the cosmos never needs a boundary to change. Consider this. If the universe were infinite at the moment of the Big Bang, then it was infinitely dense, an infinite canvas of pure energy expanding everywhere at once. Not an explosion, but an unfolding of something already vast. Expansion didn't create space, it changed space. It gave every region more room. And if the universe is infinite now, then expansion means that the distances between galaxies stretch endlessly, with no final horizon. An infinite universe becomes increasingly sparse, increasingly quiet, increasingly cold as expansion proceeds, and yet it remains infinite. This raises another gentle paradox. If the universe is infinite, it contains infinite galaxies. But as expansion accelerates, each galaxy becomes increasingly isolated, lost in its own island of space-time. Infinity separates into infinities. It is a strange, delicate truth. Expansion does not make the universe bigger. It makes distances bigger. And in doing so, it allows infinity itself to evolve. There is something deeply calming about this realization. If the cosmos can stretch without breaking, if infinity can grow without needing more than itself, then change, growth, and motion need not be chaotic. They can be natural, soft, built into the fabric of what is. Your own inner world mirrors this. You can expand without becoming someone else. You can grow without needing new boundaries. You can evolve within your own infinite complexity, simply by allowing more space between thoughts, more room for perspective, more softness in the way you hold your experiences. Infinity in motion is not overwhelming. It is peaceful, an unending horizon that breathes. And tonight, as you drift toward rest, know this. You're lying in a universe that may be infinite, quietly stretching in every direction, carrying stars and galaxies with it, like gently widening ripples in a boundless sea. Dark energy is one of the quietest mysteries in the universe. It has no glow, no shape, no scent, no fingerprint. We cannot see it, touch it, or bottle it. Yet it fills the cosmos like an invisible tide, pushing galaxies apart, stretching the fabric of space and shaping the fate of everything that will ever exist. It is subtle but vast, gentle but unstoppable, and still, after decades of study, we do not know why it exists, or what purpose it serves in the story of the universe. Imagine walking through a forest at dusk. The air is still, the trees are silhouettes. You cannot see the wind, yet you see leaves drift. You feel something present but unseen. Dark energy is like this, not an object, but a presence woven into the background of reality. It is not a force in the way gravity is a force. Gravity pulls. Dark energy simply encourages space to grow. It acts like a soft pressure, a quiet encouragement that expansion accelerate. Its influence increases as the cosmos grows larger, as if the universe becomes more sensitive to this hidden push the more room it makes. Scientists have tried to understand it in many ways. Some think dark energy is a property of space itself, an inherent tendency to expand, as natural as breath expanding a chest. Some think it's a field permeating everything, like a cosmic mist with subtle pressure. Others wonder if our understanding of gravity is incomplete, and what we call dark energy is actually a sign that space-time behaves differently on the larger scales. And some whisper a gentler possibility, that dark energy is simply the universe's way of ensuring it never collapses inward, giving galaxies space to drift, evolve, and live out their luminous stories. As you breathe in, imagine space stretching gently around you. As you breathe out, imagine that soft push continuing. Quiet and patient, dark energy has no clear purpose we can pin down, but its effects are unmistakable. Without it, the future of the cosmos would be entirely different. Expansion might slow, stall, or even reverse. Galaxies might eventually fall back toward one another. The night sky might grow brighter over time as clusters draw closer. But with dark energy, the opposite happens. The night grows wider. Galaxies drift toward solitude. The cosmic weave thins, cools, and expands. This may sound melancholic, but there is beauty in it too. Dark energy gives the universe openness, space for creativity, time for evolution, room for countless possibilities to unfold. Without it, the cosmos would be smaller, denser, more hurried. Instead, expansion ensures a gentle pace, a long timeline, a universe that ages slowly. Perhaps dark energy is not a force with a purpose, but a natural expression of space-time, much like how your mind expands naturally when you relax, when you imagine, when you dream. Some expansions do not need reasons. They simply happen because the conditions allow them to. And yet, it's comforting to entertain the thought that the universe contains ingredients we have not yet understood. Mysteries quiet enough to let us sleep, but deep enough to keep us wondering. Tonight, let dark energy be a reminder. Not everything that shapes your life is visible. Sometimes the most powerful influences are the softest ones, subtle, steady, and all around you. The universe expands. Dark energy hums quietly in the background, and the mystery remains, gently unresolved. When we speak of galaxies drifting apart, of space stretching, of the universe expanding endlessly outward, it can be easy to feel small, a tiny island of breath and thought in an ocean so wide it defies imagination. And yet, the more we learn about the universe, the more we discover that being small does not mean being insignificant. In fact, our place in this expanding cosmos is profoundly meaningful, because we are the part of the universe that can understand it. Imagine lying on your back beneath a clear night sky. The stars shimmer quietly. The Milky Way spills across the darkness like a river of powdered light. You feel the faint pull of gravity anchoring you to Earth, yet your mind drifts upward, outward, through layers of air, through the black ocean of space toward galaxies far beyond sight. In that moment, you are both small and infinite, bounded by your body, unbounded in your awareness. This duality mirrors the universe itself. On one hand, expansion means that galaxies drift farther apart, that the cosmic horizon grows more distant, that the night sky will one day fade as stars recede into darkness. But on the other hand, you are alive at a moment when the universe is still full of visible light, full of structure, full of stories written in starlight. You exist in a brief, luminous window when the cosmos is accessible, readable, knowable. You're here at the perfect time to wonder. As you breathe in, feel your own presence as part of this universe, not outside it, not observing it like a spectator, but made of the same fabric that expands. As you breathe out, imagine your breath joining the gentle rhythm of cosmic widening. You're not separate from the expanding universe, you are one expression of it. The atoms in your body were forged in stars, the iron in your blood was born in supernovae, the calcium in your bones formed in the quiet interiors of dying suns. Even the photons entering your eyes were stretched by expansion, softened by billions of years of travel. You're quite literally shaped by the universe's history. This means that when you contemplate cosmic expansion, the universe is contemplating itself through you. There is a gentle beauty in that truth. The cosmos grows, galaxies drift, stars burn and disappear, and somewhere, on a quiet planet circling a quiet star, a human mind wonders why, wonders how, wonders what it means. In a universe without a center, without edges, without a fixed direction, meaning emerges not from position but from awareness, from the ability to reflect, to question, to feel awe. You're not the center of the cosmos, but you may be the center of your own small region of understanding, a place where the universe has given itself the gift of consciousness. So when you think of galaxies drifting away, do not imagine yourself lost in the vastness. Imagine yourself connected to it, anchored by gravity, held by starlight, carried by expansion, rooted on Earth, yet woven into everything beyond it. The human place in the cosmos is not defined by size but by perspective, by the quiet miracle of being able to see the universe and feel something. Curiosity, wonder, calm, connection. Tonight, as you rest, remember this. The universe expands outward, but you expand inward. With understanding, with awareness, with imagination. Both expansions matter. Both are beautiful. Both are part of the same story. In a universe that grows ever wider, ever colder, ever more diffuse, it's natural to ask a quiet question. What does it all mean? If galaxies drift endlessly apart, if stars burn out, if space expands into deeper and deeper silence, is there purpose in this vastness? Is there meaning in a cosmos that seems indifferent to our tiny lives? But meaning is not something written into the stars or carved into the fabric of space. Meaning is something that emerges gently, subtly, beautifully, within beings who can reflect, remember, and dream. In a sense, meaning is an expansion too, a widening of awareness, a deepening of connection, a flowering of understanding that mirrors the universe's own unfolding. Imagine standing in a quiet field at night. Above you, the sky widens in every direction. The stars shimmer softly. The universe stretches around you like a great endless canvas. None of those stars shine for you. The galaxies do not drift with intention. The expansion is not a message. And yet, in that moment, you feel something. A sense of wonder, of scale, of belonging. That feeling is meaning. Born inside you, not imposed from outside. As the universe expands, meaning becomes a human act of creation. You find meaning in relationships, in memories, in small joys, in quiet moments of connection. You find meaning in curiosity itself, the gentle desire to understand how things work, why they behave as they do, and what your place might be in the story. The expanding universe does not give meaning, but it gives context, a cosmic backdrop for the deeply personal narrative unfolding within you. Think of how galaxies drift apart, not in loneliness, but in natural motion. Think of how stars burn out, not in futility, but as part of a cycle that creates new elements, new worlds, new chances for life. Think of how space expands, not as emptiness, but as openness, room for possibility, room for growth. Meaning emerges in the interplay between what is vast and what is intimate. As you breathe in, imagine drawing in the vast openness of space, its calm, its mystery, its endless distance. As you breathe out, imagine anchoring yourself in the small, warm details of your own life, your hopes, your experiences, your connections. In the early universe, expansion allowed matter to cool and settle, allowed atoms to form, allowed stars to ignite. Without expansion, no structures could exist, no galaxies could shine, no life could arise. In that sense, the universe's widening is not empty or barren, it is creative, making room for complexity. And that is where meaning lives, in complexity, in the branches of possibility that unfold over time, in the minds that arise to witness the cosmos, in the hearts that feel something when they see the night sky expand. If the universe were static and unchanging, meaning would be frozen too. But in an expanding universe, meaning can grow, it can stretch, it can evolve, just as the cosmos does. So tonight, as you rest, do not think of expansion as a drifting away or a thinning out. Think of it as a canvas being stretched, preparing itself for new patterns, new stories, new lives. The meaning you create, not just in understanding the universe, but in living within it, is part of that unfolding. The universe expands, meaning expands with it, and you, gentle and curious, are one of the places where that meaning takes shape. Between the great islands of light that we call galaxies lies an ocean of nearly perfect emptiness. Not absolute emptiness, because in physics pure nothingness is rare, but something close. A vast, dark expanse where only a few stray atoms drift across millions of kilometers. A place where light travels for eons without interruption. A realm so quiet that even time seems to slow its step. This is the intergalactic space, the silent sea that holds the galaxies apart. Imagine floating in that space now. No stars nearby, no planets, no warm glow of nebulae. Just blackness. Deep, serene, unbroken blackness stretching in every direction. At first, this silence might feel lonely, but if you sit with it softly, if you let it wash over you like cool night air, you begin to sense something else in it. A calmness, a stillness, a sense that the universe is breathing in its own quiet way. The silence between galaxies is not empty of meaning. It is part of the cosmic balance. Galaxies need space to drift, to rotate, to evolve. Expansion needs room to stretch. Light needs distance to carry its messages. Even gravity plays its role here. reaching across the void with delicate fingers that shape the cosmic web. Though intergalactic space is silent, it is not inactive. Dark matter threads through it, forming invisible scaffolding. Dark energy fills it, encouraging expansion. Cosmic rays pass through it like ghostly whispers. And occasional lone stars or rogue planets wander its depths carried by gravitational tides. But these events are rare. For the most part, the silence holds. As you breathe in now, imagine this quiet vastness floating within you. A calm, open space between thoughts, a gentle separation that allows rest, reflection, and stillness. The silence between galaxies also teaches us something profound about connection. Galaxies appear isolated, but they are not alone. They are connected through gravity, through the cosmic web, through the faint glow of radiation that travels between them. Even across unimaginable distances, they feel each other's pull. Connection does not require closeness. Meaning does not require noise. Presence does not require words. In your own life, there are silences too. The spaces between moments, between breaths, between thoughts. These silences are not empty. They are where understanding settles, where emotions soften, where clarity emerges. Just as galaxies drift in a wide, silent sea, you drift through a life full of pauses. And those pauses are not voids. They are the spaciousness that allows your experiences to form, just as intergalactic space allows galaxies to shine without crowding. Now imagine yourself suspended between two distant galaxies, each a glowing spiral far away on opposite horizons. Their light reaches you faintly, softly, stretched by expansion. You float in the calmest place imaginable, held by nothing, surrounded by everything. The silence is not cold, it is comforting, like a weighted blanket woven from darkness and infinity. This is the universe's quiet heart, a place where expansion whispers, a place where time flows gently, a place where you can close your eyes and feel at peace. Tonight, let this silence remind you that space, outer and inner, is not empty. It is openness. It is possibility. It is room to breathe. The silence between galaxies is the universe's slow exhale, and you are floating in its calm. There will come a time, far beyond the span of human history, far beyond the life of the sun, far beyond the final flickers of the youngest stars, when the universe grows so wide, so stretched, so softly thinned by expansion, that everything we see today will drift into quiet separation, not because of conflict, not because of loss, but because time itself carries all things apart in an expanding cosmos. Imagine watching the night sky over unimaginable ages. At first, the constellations shift gently, as they always do. Then, over millions of years, distant galaxies begin to fade, carried away by the accelerating expansion. Over billions of years, only the closest galaxies remain visible, and eventually, even they drift beyond the cosmic horizon, their light stretched into invisibility. One by one, the galaxies slip away, like lanterns carried off by a widening river. The universe does not shrink, it simply widens faster than light can travel. And in this widening, the sky slowly empties, not into darkness, but into a calm, spacious quiet. Imagine yourself in a distant future galaxy, long after the Milky Way and Andromeda have merged into a single, majestic swirl of stars. That galaxy will shine beautifully, but everything else, the whole cosmic web, the billions of galaxies we can see today, will be gone from view, not destroyed, not extinguished, just carried so far away that no light from them can ever arrive again. The universe will become local, self-contained, a solitary island of stars drifting in an ocean too wide to cross. And even within that galaxy, time continues its gentle work. Stars burn out, new stars form more slowly, eventually star formation dwindles. The remaining stars age, dim, and fade. This is not a tragic story. It is simply the long, slow rhythm of a universe expanding into maturity. Think of an ancient forest. Trees grow, flourish, scatter seeds, and eventually fall. New trees rise in their place, then fade in turn. Over many cycles, the forest becomes quieter, older, slower, not empty, just transformed by time. The cosmos behaves the same way. As you breathe in, imagine the early universe, dense, bright, full of energy and possibility. As you breathe out, imagine the far future universe, spacious, calm, filled with old starlight drifting through an ever-widening dark. Time carries all things apart, but it also carries all things forward. It allows galaxies to form and drift. It allows stars to ignite and evolve. It allows life to emerge in a quiet corner of a spiral arm. It allows minds to wonder, to reflect, to imagine a future they will never see. And perhaps that is the most remarkable part of all. Even as the universe grows colder and quieter across cosmic timescales, there is a small, warm moment, now, when you can still see the galaxies, still feel the immensity, still dream about the far reaches of time. You are living in a rare era when the universe is visible, vibrant, and full of accessible light. In the distant future, when time carries all things apart, that light will fade, but the meaning it inspires will not. Your awareness, your wonder, your reflection, these are part of the universe too. They are its way of knowing itself before the long quiet. Tonight, rest in that beauty. The universe expands, time carries all things apart, and you are here, listening to the soft story of it all. When we think of the expanding universe, we often picture galaxies drifting away on a widening sea of space. But expansion is not just a cosmic phenomenon, it is also a gentle metaphor for human growth, a reminder that change does not always arrive with thunder or urgency. Sometimes it unfolds quietly, softly, like the stretching of space itself. Imagine your life as a small galaxy, full of stars, memories, worlds of experience. Some moments burn bright like newborn suns. Others fade like old starlight drifting toward the horizon. Around you lies a wide, dark ocean of time and possibility. And just as the universe expands, so do you. Not explosively, not chaotically, but gradually, naturally, with each experience stretching the fabric of who you are. In the early universe, expansion created room for matter to cool, atoms to form, and galaxies to grow. Without expansion, everything would have remained too dense, too hot, too compressed for structure to arise. In the same way, the expansion in your own life, those moments when you step into unfamiliar situations, when you open your mind to new ideas, when you allow yourself to breathe into openness, is what makes growth possible. If the universe teaches anything, it is that space creates room for transformation. Think of the dark energy that accelerates expansion. It is gentle, invisible, and pervasive, much like the subtle forces that encourage you to evolve. A whisper of curiosity, a shift in perspective, a quiet desire to understand yourself better. These soft internal pushes widen the space within you, allowing new thoughts and feelings to emerge. As you breathe in, imagine creating more room inside yourself, space for patience, for imagination, for rest. As you breathe out, imagine releasing the tightness of old patterns, the density of long-held worries, the gravity of self-doubt. Growth often begins the way cosmic structure began, with tiny fluctuations, small changes in mood, tiny insights, moments of awareness that ripple outward, shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. And just as galaxies remain bound together even as the universe expands, you too carry constellations of connection, relationships, values, memories that hold you close. Expansion does not erase these bonds, it simply places them within a wider, richer context. You can grow while staying grounded. You can drift outward while remaining connected. You can expand without losing the parts of yourself that matter most. Imagine floating in a calm, endless night sky. Galaxies drift around you. Stars flicker softly. The universe widens in slow motion, and in that widening, you sense not emptiness, but possibility. The quiet reminder that you too are allowed to open, allowed to change, allowed to soften, allowed to become more spacious inside. The expanding universe is not growing toward a goal. It is simply becoming more of what it already is, vast, expressive, full of unfolding stories. You are no different. You're not required to reach a perfect state or complete a specific path. You're invited to evolve gently, in your own rhythm, with your own kind of expansion. So tonight, as you lie here, let the cosmos offer you a metaphor of comfort. You are made of stardust in a universe that grows, and just as the universe expands without haste, without fear, without judgment, so can you. You are part of the same endless unfolding, a quiet, beautiful expansion happening one breath at a time. At the beginning of this journey, we asked a simple, haunting question. Why does space grow? What makes the universe widen, stretch, and drift into ever greater silence? And now, after drifting through galaxies and horizons, through dark energy and ancient light, we return to that question, not to answer it fully, but to understand it more deeply, more softly, with the calm of everything we've discovered along the way. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the universe as it was long ago, dense, warm, filled with potential. There were no galaxies yet, no stars, no atoms even, only a smooth, expanding fabric of energy and possibility. That expansion began not with force, but with unfolding, not with noise, but with emergence. And it continues now, billions of years later, with the same quiet insistence. Why does space grow? Part of the answer is physical. Expansion is built into the geometry of space-time. The universe follows equations that allow distances to widen, light to stretch, and galaxies to drift. Dark energy accelerates this widening. Gravity shapes the pockets of stillness within it. The entire cosmos is a dance between forces that gather and forces that open. But another part of the answer is philosophical. Space grows because the universe evolves. It changes. It transforms. It becomes. Just as a seed unfolds into a tree, just as a mind opens with experience, just as life expands through curiosity and connection, the universe expands as a natural expression of being, not toward anything, not away from anything, simply in accordance with its nature. As you breathe in, picture the universe's earliest moment, a rapid, luminous bloom of existence. As you breathe out, feel the calm of the present universe, vast, spacious, settled into its quiet rhythm. Between those two breaths lies everything we have explored, the redshift whisper, the silent drift of galaxies, the deep field abundance, the horizon we can never cross, the expansion of time itself, the cooling of all things, the quiet push of dark energy, the slow separation carried by time. And through it all, the first question remains, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a guide toward wonder. Perhaps the universe expands because motion is more natural than stillness. Perhaps openness is more fundamental than confinement. Perhaps growth is woven into the essence of reality. In your own life, you have felt moments like this. Moments when you didn't choose to expand, but did. When you opened to a new idea. When you softened to a new perspective. When your world stretched quietly without effort. The universe behaves the same way. Expansion is not an act of will. It is a condition of existence. So we return to the first question, not with a definitive answer, but with a deeper understanding. The expansion of the universe is not something to be solved. It is something to be witnessed, appreciated, felt, a reminder that even the vast, cold cosmos carries within it a kind of gentle growth, and that growth has shaped everything, from the galaxies that swirl in distant darkness to the atoms in your body that breathe quietly in the night. The universe grows, and in that growth, it carries the subtle poetry of becoming. You have walked far tonight through expanding space, and the first question is still with you, softer now, quieter, wrapped in understanding rather than uncertainty. When you listen closely to the story of the expanding universe, it begins to sound less like a scientific fact and more like a gentle teaching, a quiet philosophy written in light, time, and distance. The cosmos is vast, almost unimaginably so, and yet its lessons are simple, soft, and deeply human. If you let it, the universe becomes a silent mentor, offering wisdom in its widening motion. Consider the way galaxies drift apart, not hurriedly, not explosively, but with slow, graceful inevitability. From this, the universe teaches patience. Growth does not always require speed. Change can unfold over billions of years and still be meaningful. Consider the silence between galaxies, deep, dark, and nearly empty. From this, the universe teaches spaciousness. Life needs room to breathe. Thoughts need room to settle. Hearts need room to rest. The quiet between events is not wasted time. It is the space where understanding forms. Consider the cosmic microwave background, a faint glow preserved from the earliest moments. From this, the universe teaches memory. Even after unimaginable stretches of time, a trace of the beginning remains. You too carry echoes of your earliest moments, soft impressions that guide you quietly. Consider the horizon of what we can never see, shaped by expansion itself. From this, the universe teaches humility. Not everything can be known or reached. Some mysteries remain beyond visibility, not to frustrate us but to remind us that wonder does not depend on certainty. Consider dark energy, invisible yet profoundly influential. From this, the universe teaches subtlety. Some of the most powerful forces in life are gentle, encouragement, hope, curiosity. They push us forward quietly, shaping our paths without demanding attention. Consider the balance between gravity and expansion. Gravity gathers, expansion releases. One brings things together, the other gives them space. From this, the universe teaches harmony. Life too requires a balance between closeness and openness, between holding on and letting go. As you breathe in now, imagine inhaling the universe's calm wisdom. As you breathe out, imagine releasing tension, allowing space within yourself to widen. The universe also teaches resilience. Despite expanding for billions of years, it still forms stars, grows galaxies, and creates new wonders. Even as structures drift apart, new ones form. The cosmic web is a constant reminder that growth continues even in times of thinning, cooling, or quieting, and the universe teaches perspective. From Earth, humans once believed the sky revolved around them. Later, they believed the Milky Way was the entire cosmos. Then they discovered billions of galaxies, then billions more. The expanding universe teaches that perspective must always stay open, that understanding grows when boundaries are allowed to soften. Above all, the universe teaches connection. Even in immense distances, everything is woven from the same fabric. The atoms in your body were born in ancient stars. The light you see comes from galaxies that formed before Earth existed. The energy that warms your skin and fills your cells is part of the same cosmic unfolding. You're not separate from the universe. You're one of its gentle expressions. Tonight, as you drift into rest, let the expanding universe be your teacher. Let it remind you that growth is natural, that openness is healing, that mystery is beautiful, and that you are part of something vast, ancient, and quietly wise. The universe expands, and in its expansion, it whispers lessons to any consciousness willing to listen. When we imagine the future of the universe, our minds often jump to dramatic scenes. Stars flickering out, galaxies drifting beyond sight, space growing colder and quieter. But the real future of an expanding cosmos is not dramatic at all. It is gentle, slow, almost tender in the way it unfolds, a soft future, drawn out across unfathomable time. Close your eyes and imagine the night sky as it appears now, full of galaxies, clusters, and faint glimmers scattered across the dark. Now imagine that same view stretched over billions of years. The galaxies drift farther apart, the space between them widening like a calm sea rising under a moonlit tide. Nothing rushes, nothing collapses, everything simply continues to widen. In a few 100 billion years, most galaxies outside our local group will slip beyond the cosmic horizon, their light stretched into invisibility. The universe won't become empty, it will become quieter. A peaceful kind of solitude will settle across the sky. Within the merged remnant of the Milky Way and Andromeda, sometimes called Milkdromeda, stars will still shine. New stars may still form slowly from the remaining clouds of gas. Life, if it exists then, will still have warmth to gather around. Our galaxy's descendants will continue to glow gently, like a single lantern carried through a widening night. But over trillions of years, even star formation dwindles. The brightest stars die first. The smaller, cooler stars live incredibly long lives, glowing softly for trillions of years. The universe enters its red dwarf era, illuminated by tiny, steady fires. Eventually, even those stars fade. This is not a sad story. It's a soft one, a graceful aging. Think of a campfire burning through the night. At first it's bright and energetic. Then it becomes warmer, deeper, quieter. Finally only embers remain, glowing faintly, peacefully. The universe moves through its eras like this, from blazing heat to brilliant stars to quiet embers. Black dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes will scatter the cosmic landscape. Planets may drift untethered, wandering softly through space. Dark energy will continue its patient expansion, carrying everything farther apart, giving each remnant its own quiet domain. And yet, there is a strange comfort here. Even as the universe grows colder, the structure it created endures. Even as stars fade, the atoms forged within them will remain. Even as everything drifts apart, the story the universe wrote stays imprinted in the fabric of time. You are part of that imprint. Right now, in this era of light and visibility, you exist during a cosmic springtime, a rare moment when stars are abundant, when galaxies fill the sky, when life can flourish. You are here during the luminous chapter of the universe's story. As you breathe in, imagine inhaling the warmth of this cosmic moment, its stars, its light, its beauty. As you breathe out, imagine surrendering into the gentle future, a universe that grows softer with time. In that future, expansion does not erase meaning. It preserves it, stretching moments across eternity. Every star that ever shone leaves an imprint. Every galaxy that ever formed leaves a signature. Every life that ever wondered leaves a whisper. The universe's future is soft. Not tragic, not empty, but spacious and calm. Like a long exhale held lovingly across time, you are living in its bright beginning. And the cosmos will carry that brightness forward, gently, forever. We've drifted far tonight, through galaxies, through silent voids, through the delicate widening of space-time itself. Now, in these final chapters of the journey, it is time to turn back. Not backward in distance, but inward. Toward the quiet place within you where wonder settles into rest. Toward the home you carry inside your breath, your heartbeat, your gentle awareness. Imagine yourself floating in deep intergalactic space, the calmest ocean imaginable. No stars nearby, no planets, only the faintest glow of distant galaxies, stretched by expansion into soft fading embers. The silence around you is absolute, but it is not lonely. It is soothing, like dark velvet surrounding your thoughts. Now slowly you begin to drift, not because something pulls you, but because you choose to return. The galaxies brighten slightly as you move inward. The cosmic web becomes more structured, more familiar. Filaments of light emerge in the distance, like highways guiding you home across a dark horizon. You drift closer to a familiar cluster, then toward a spiral galaxy with long, elegant arms, then toward a small, bright star nestled in one of those arms, then toward a blue planet wrapped in oceans and air. Earth. A fragile world suspended in a widening universe. Your home, floating quietly in a sea of light and silence. As you approach, notice how small it is compared to the vastness you've travelled, but also how full it is. Full of sound, of colour, of movement, of story. Full of warmth, connection, memory. Full of the only kind of meaning the universe has ever known. Meaning created by living beings. You're returning not to an insignificant place, but to a rare and precious island of light. As you breathe in, imagine Earth's gravity gathering you, grounding you gently. As you breathe out, imagine releasing the immense distances you've travelled, letting them dissolve into calm. The expanding universe does not diminish the planet beneath you. It frames it, makes it remarkable. Makes the brief spark of life on its surface all the more beautiful against the backdrop of widening space. Think about the quiet lessons the cosmos has offered, that growth can be soft, that silence can be full, that distance does not negate connection, that mystery does not diminish meaning, that you're both small and immeasurable, tiny in size, infinite in awareness. As you settle back into the familiar warmth of your earthly home, imagine carrying all of that with you. The galaxies you've visited may drift apart, the voids may deepen, the light may stretch and soften, but the experience stays with you, imprinted like a constellation inside your mind. You return with more spaciousness, more calm, more quiet wonder, as though a little of the universe's vastness now lives within your breath. The stars you've drifted past may be unreachable. The horizons you've seen may remain forever beyond human touch, but you have travelled there in thought, in imagination, in the wide open room of your inner cosmos, and that makes the journey real. So now, as your awareness comes gently home, feel the ground beneath you. Feel the air against your skin. Feel the warmth of being alive in a universe that expands with infinite patience. You have travelled through the cosmic dark, and you have returned, softened, calmed, and full of quiet light. You've travelled far, across the early fire of creation, through the silent drift of galaxies, into the dark spaces where time stretches and light softens. And now, at the end of this journey, you find yourself resting in a universe that continues to widen with every passing moment. A universe that is vast, ancient, gently mysterious, yet somehow feels close enough to cradle you. Tonight, as you settle into stillness, imagine the entire cosmos breathing with you. With each inhale, space stretches softly, like a calm tide rising around your mind. With each exhale, your thoughts settle, like stardust drifting back into place. You are part of this rhythm, part of this widening, part of this quiet story written across billions of years. You might imagine the universe as something distant, unreachable, too large to hold in your awareness. But tonight, let it feel like something intimate, something woven into your pulse, something whispering gently inside your breath. Because it is. Every atom in your body, every fragment of you comes from the stars. You're not outside the cosmos looking in. You are the cosmos, briefly awake, briefly aware, drifting back toward rest. As you lie here, picture yourself floating in a place where expansion no longer feels immense, but natural. Imagine the galaxies around you drifting outward like petals opening on a cosmic flower. Imagine the dark matter web stretching like a soft net beneath everything. Imagine the quiet, invisible push of dark energy guiding the motion forward, not rushing, not striving, simply becoming. The universe does not ask you to understand it completely. It does not ask you to solve its mysteries. It only invites you to witness them, to feel their calm, to let their vastness soften your thoughts, to rest in the knowing that you belong to something endlessly unfolding. Tonight, the expanding universe becomes a lullaby, not loud, not dramatic, just a steady hum beneath all things. The galaxies continue their slow drift. The stars continue their quiet burn. The light continues its patient travel across widening space. And you, here, now, are a moment of awareness resting gently in that flow. Think of how far you've journeyed through this story, from the first moments of inflation, to the ripples that seeded galaxies, to the cosmic web's delicate architecture, to the accelerating expansion shaping the future of everything. And through it all, one soft truth remains. The universe expands outward, but you can expand inward, into calm, into rest, into quiet spaciousness within your own mind. Let that expansion guide you now. Let the widening of space become the widening of your breath. Let the calm between galaxies become the calm within you. Let the soft fate of distant stars become a gentle settling in your chest. You're part of a universe that grows, but you're also part of a universe that rests. And now, as we close this long voyage, let the final words settle over you like a warm cosmic blanket. Everything flows. Sleep in that motion.